The sky grows dark, decay underneath. The ravens in the sky, and kings shall deceive. We have come into the night, thunder and rage and war at night. We have come into the night, thunder and rage and war at night. We'll fight, dark age, Ragnarok. Drink her up for Ragnarok, drink her up for Ragnarok, drink her up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla. Drink her up for Ragnarok, drink her up for Ragnarok, drink her up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla. I can feel it in my veins, the warrior inside of me. Drink her up for Ragnarok, drink her up for Ragnarok, drink her up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla. The sounds of arms, fierce morality. Nightfall, the rain, and the silence bleeds. We have come into the night, thunder, rage, and war at night. We have come into the night, thunder, rage, and war at night. We'll fight, dark age, Ragnarok, shield wall. Drink her up for Ragnarok, drink her up for Ragnarok, drink her up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla. Drink her up for Ragnarok, drink her up for Ragnarok, drink her up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla. I can feel it in my veins, the warrior inside of me. Drink her up for Ragnarok, drink her up for Ragnarok, drink her up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla.
All right. Good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are, the finals of this Valhalla Esports Season 3. I have Sable and MG Tactic here to kick it off for us and run us through this best of 5. You guys ready?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
I-
Happy to be here.
Excellent. Alright, we got Goat Kings versus Titan Gaming Mox. You guys want to take it away?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, Tactic, we're looking at Goat Kings versus Titan Gaming Mox, as he's so kindly put it for us. So, coming into this matchup, I was kind of curious to hear your thoughts on kind of the individual matchups here, going down kind of from top through the bot lane, and how you expect each one to go. Maybe some picks you think they might be looking for, or how you kind of expect the laning phases to go.
For the most part, it's kind of a mishmash of where the power is as far as the team layouts are concerned. I think Flimsy's going to be looking to play something on the strong side for top lane. I know Nar's not in the best place right now, but he has shown that even if the champion's not in the best place, if you have good champion mastery, it doesn't super matter. But with the jungle matchup is going to kind of be the focus point for me, just because Deity tends to play a lot of like scaling champions unless it is like target banned, in which case he kind of pivots a little bit to be more of a team fight with the Zac green junglers.
Yeah, I
Vintage.
want to pause on the jungle matchup here though, because we see for Titan Gaming Mox, they actually have Zulmorn subbed in the jungle instead of their starting jungler and captain, which I believe was Vixper. Uh, so what do you make of that? Because we talked about Deity's pool a little bit, but Zulmorn, he was the jungler on my team. Kind of a two trick with the Poppy Udyr. You could maybe throw in some other picks in there as well that he plays. But do you think this impacts Titan Gaming Mox and them playing that strong side top?
Uh, if you're focusing on getting rid of the two trick picks, I think Poppy would be the more disruptive of the two, but Udyr can kind of camp a lane pretty reliably if that's the strategy they wanted to go with to get Flimsy ahead. But I do know Smoothie is really comfortable playing that weak side. So if that's kind of the strategy Titan is looking to go for, I think Smoothie is more than capable of mitigating a lot of that. Kind of similar to the mid matchup where Bentage would be looking to kind of mitigate any impact Reaper could have because he's got a pretty wide champion pool, both in like the assassin category and the team fight mage category. The bot lane is definitely going to be kind of a spicy throwdown, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
I'm thinking that as well. I'm thinking we're going to see a lot of action down there. From seeing Trinity and Beard play, through in-houses and in other games throughout the season, I tend to always see them both playing a little aggressive. So I'm excited to see what their trading patterns look like down there and who can kind of edge it out early. And, if that does come down to what we talked about earlier with the jungle impact, if, either one of those guys can make an impact bot lane early on, we'll definitely be pushing one of those lanes.
Do we have draft starting at all?
Sorry. Nope, we do not have draft starting. They are currently waiting for Zulmorn. Uh, he stepped away for a minute. It's been gone a little while, so we're just waiting for him to return, get these lineups together.
I gotta tell you, I know the guy. That's a classic right there. That is a classic. So, we love to see it. It could be one thing. You should be consistent. So that's great.
We do have our bracket here for how we got here. So these are the top two teams. They've made their way down through the bracket, meeting here in the finals. So it should be very exciting. Sorry,
Yeah,
you
you
guys jumping
mentioned
in?
this earlier. We missed out sadly on the Titan v Titan gaming. Could have been the battle of the Titans here in the end, but the Goat Kings going to be the ones facing Titans Gaming Max. I'm pretty excited for the matchup, boys. I'm not going to lie.
And shout out to Smoothie and Hailstrom for both their subscriptions. Smoothie, in particular, he did it all for Hailstrom's love. Hailstrom can't be with us right now, but yeah, I know he's gonna love up on Smoothie later. And Hailstrom's got his 9 month streak there. So yeah, if you guys have any Amazon Prime subs laying around, or you want to support
Any
the
primers?
any primers out there, you want to support the Valhalla Esports and what we're doing here, get the winner of this game some sweet jerseys to represent and commemorate this team. Feel free to help out. Oh, we have a Zolmorn sighting. The teams are lining up. Hopefully they'll send over the draft a little shortly.
Yeah, so that tactic you'd mentioned, thinking they're probably going to play towards a strong side top. Um, looking at those mid laners, what are the champions you think we're going to see Reaper and Vantage pulling out?
It kind of depends on where their draft priority is. If I'm if I'm Goat Kings, I think we blind pick mid, because Envy has a really good pool of blind pick mids of like Ari and Vex, and then you can just pick the bot lane and then just kind of see how things go from there. Because I think you have to have information for Smoothie to appropriately absorb pressure, and then Deity needs a good amount of information in order to kind of have an appropriate response for what his team needs.
Yeah, I can totally see that. I guess we will just have to wait and see what they end up going for in the mid lane. I'm hoping we see some spicy picks this series. I want to see some stuff that's, maybe on the fringe of the meta, or maybe even outside the meta. I think a few of these guys are capable of pulling out some picks like that. So I'm kind of looking forward to see if anything like that comes through. As it looks like we're going to be getting blue side first ban here any second. And you have to think, like, is Goat King's strategy going to be to target ban top lane, or do you think maybe they're just going to be banning out, some of the other roles that they maybe don't view as strongly on the other team? If they maybe don't think there's a point in banning out the strongest player on the team, if they just target some other stuff, which the first two bans kind of looks like that. And two junglers taken away by Titan Gaming Mox.
Those bans kind of flew through there. I don't know
Yeah,
if I would first round ban Anivia.
I don't either. I really like the first round Aatrox ban from Goat Kings. I could see, Fence maybe trying to take that one blind, but I love even more from Goat Kings this Maokai taken B1. Uh, it's such a strong champion right now. You can try roll him. He's just has so many good build paths. Just such a strong champion, and even makes your vision control easier on the map. I really like that pickup from Goat Kings and the response of the team fighting bot lane, kind of the lane bully bot lane from Titan Gaming. It's an interesting pairing. I think it's actually quite strong, but uh, should be an opportunity for Goat Kings to kind of pick something that's not susceptible to that.
It's a little interesting. Well, they're keeping their flex pick intact by not picking like a support champion to answer the Seraphine, because I don't if I'm Goat Kings in this situation, I don't think Maokai is going bot anymore, just
Mm.
because Seraphine MF, you can't really do anything unless your jungler's there.
I
But
almost like it if you just trade Flash early with the Maokai support, then you just get to farm that on repeat if you have a ganking jungler. But it can be really hard to play the lane as a melee champion into those two. But once you get on them,
yeah, it's all about if your jungler's there, because Sivir's
yeah,
not going to be able to do a lot by just her. In the 2v2 matchup, I don't think Sivir can do a lot.
oh no,
Just because her damage is pretty low until she gets items.
yeah, three item Andy for sure. The Xerath from Titan Gaming. I really like Xerath in the meta right now. I think he's a really good answer to a lot of champions that are currently in the game. I mean, not so much into like specifically Sivir, Maokai, Victor, but Victor often relies on that extra range he gets on his E for the poke in the lane, and Xerath even outranges that. So probably a little bit of a frustrating matchup for the Victor. And we see the Udyr coming in, Zulmorn staying true, the two trick himself.
Shout out to Timberland and Hailstrom for all those subs.
Yes. Oh Jesus, yeah, gifting 5 tier 1 subs to Valhalla Esports. Thank you, Hailstrom. What a giga
I,
chat.
I really like the Jarvan pickup here, just because can be super vulnerable if isn't like respecting that Jarvan could be nearby. Similar with their bot lane, like their bot lane can be super abusable now that we have like Jarvan Maokai for the gank synergy.
Yeah, I really like this from Goat Kings. They just gave themselves like buttons. Like it's so simple to just give yourselves these engage tools when the enemy like bot lane is just face up immediately like that. And they're both the mobile champions. And the Xerath on top of that, I feel like that just makes the Jarvan Malphite so free in this game. Like the way they're gonna be able to team fight this game if they can group on objectives first is just so much easier to do. That being said, I mean, if Titan Gaming Mox can actually accrue an early enough, a big enough lead early, they can maybe mitigate that. I mean, just 1-for-1ing later with the Nasus is going to be kind of unstoppable. But if it's even and we're in the mid game, I'm a little worried for Titan Gaming and their ability to like pick which fights they want to take.
Yeah, it's really rough. Even if you're running the Smite Ghost Udyr, yeah, you have like the melee stun, but you have to walk through Maokai, you have to walk through Jarvan, you have to walk through Victor. There's a lot of things that stop you from getting to anybody, and Nasus isn't really going to be able to do a lot if Goat Kings are allowed to kind of snowball.
Yeah. Yeah, and speaking of Snowball, I think that's like the only, that's one of the ways that Titan Gaming Mox kind of has to play this game. Their team comp, looking at it, you have a team fight bot lane, but then you have kind of like a poke split push rest of the map. So it's really hard to kind of group those things together effectively unless you're like so ahead early that it doesn't matter because you do so much damage. But like I said earlier, if they're going into the mid game pretty even, it's a little hard for them to fight. And I think it's also hard for Misfortune to actually get a good ultimate channel off. There's not a lot of really setup for her, unless Seraphine gets a perfect ult, but we're going to see how they play it, and that's the fun part.
I've always hated playing lethality MF when there's a rock in the game, just because it's a game of chick on who ults first.
He must not be named, I guess. We're not even good. Just a rock.
He's Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson, indeed. Yeah, Malphite hits the gameplay button, and then there's not a lot of that happening for the AD carry. I mean, they have like 3 of those buttons on the one team, and the peel is pop star. So it's going to be a little tough for the Misfortune, I think, this game. I don't put it past them being able to pull it off, but just face up everything. It's I'd rather have blue side draft if I'm playing in this game personally.
Yeah, they definitely drafted to kind of what I predicted, where the junglers are kind of gonna be the decision makers, or the kind of like the difference makers, at least in the early game.
Yeah, the most important player in the game for sure, and the most handsome, they say.
It's your funeral. I do not tolerate cowardice.
You're a jungler. You're supposed to agree with me.
Sure.
God damn it, Tactic.
Play Elise and we'll talk about it.
All right. I mean, we can have this conversation right now. We got 3 minutes on the draft screen.
It's okay. Elise got nerfed into the ground. She had her time in the spotlight for a little while.
She did have her time in the spotlight. Now she's where she belongs. Just unplayable cheese pick. Who wins game 1? Predict. Let's see it, guys. Predict with channel points. So I'm actually kind of curious to see what build Deity goes with on the Maokai here, because there's several options. You could take, personally, I would go with Phase Rush this game and probably go Radiant into just more of a tanky build, but there's an angle where you can go AP here and actually still be pretty effective. So I'm kind of curious to see what he goes for.
Honestly, I don't hate the.
Oh no, I'm talking as if Maokai's the jungler. Deity doesn't J4. But I do think that Maokai should go Phase Rush. But yeah, I don't think you can go AP from support. So
well, you have lower income, but I don't really hate the idea of AP Maokai in this situation, because if you build like Leandries into whatever it's called, Demonic Embrace, like how can they can't really get around that, because they have to walk at you. That's the only way that team operates.
Yeah. I honestly think that because of the nature of the way that Titan Gaming is going to have to win fights, which is getting Nasus and Udyr on top of Victor and Sivir, that if you go AP Maokai, you're getting less iterations of casting your Q and W per fight because you die faster. So I think maybe just going tank is probably the safer bet for how these team fights are going to play out. But I mean, I would be hype if he went AP. I just don't think it's optimal this game.
It's Maokai support on King Beard, so looking
Yeah,
to
yeah,
that
yeah.
support build. Going a little beefy. Probably not going to get enough gold to
I mean, hey, you never know,
go
man.
AP.
You never know.
It's really obnoxious if he's allowed to get away with it, like, because then you just have to walk through all these saplings that do so much damage to you.
Yeah, that's when you take first strike too. So when you're a support, you actually still get gold. Max sapling second. Honestly, a Giga Chad play. Honestly, if we don't see it, disappointed.
And to be fair, their damage profile is actually kind of low.
Yeah,
Because I mean, Jarvan does most of his damage early to mid game. Sivir doesn't really come online until 3 items. Victor is probably your most consistent damage source. So I don't necessarily. He could even go like a AP Bruiser build, and
I mean, I
still be
guess what we
fine.
didn't talk about is the obvious thing here would be what if Malphite just goes AP? Because he's gonna have gold.
Then Nasus just runs him down all the time.
Yeah, but I mean, don't you just group the Malphite anyway and have the Victor split? I think I'd rather have Malphite grouped if I'm 1-4 because Victor can be safer from Nasus and Malphite can snap engage.
I think if we're at that point in the game, even if the gold is even between Victor and Nasus, I think Nasus still wins that fight.
Oh, Nasus wins that fight every time. I feel like Victor's maybe just a little safer to wave clear and poke.
He is, but if he gets withered once, it's just like
Yeah. One wither is GG. I mean, you can kind of sit on your gravity field when he withers you and just slowly walk through it or force him to walk around it, kind of kite inside of it. But yeah, just getting ran down by the dog is not fun.
Well, even if you stand in the gravity field, if he has ult up, he can just stand outside the gravity field and kill you still because of the increased range.
Yeah, if he has ult, it's just a wrap. You're gonna have to flash that one. All right, looks like we're getting ready to get into the game. Valhalla Esports season, I don't know what season it is for you guys. Season finals. Goat Kings versus Titan Gaming Mox. We are here, Sable and Tactic, to guide you guys through this epic battle. As it loads. I gotta say, I'm a big fan of the metal music that we have in the stream intro and other portions of it. It's pretty hype. Here we go, getting onto the Rift. Game 1 of the finals. See if we see any level 1 action. I don't know if I expect to actually see much happening here from level 1, although I do kind of like the amount of damage potential from Titan Gaming on level 1. We'll see if they set up for anything. Kind of looks like they're just fanning out, though, from both sides.
I don't think any team, unless you're like looking for like some mana flow band procs or some early gold with first strike, I don't think you really look for anything just because the damage profiles on both teams are just not there. At least level 1.
So I see the commencing stopwatch in Goat King Beard's inventory tactic. I will just say, as a Maokai enjoyer myself, this is a rune that you take when you're planning on building Zanyas. So we're gonna have to keep a build check on this Maokai. You know, every couple minutes, take a look down there in the bot lane, see what's going on with the tree if he's going AP. Jungle Camp's about to spawn. What do you think is going to happen early here? You think any unique jungle paths? You think maybe just some standard?
It's kind of interesting to me that Jarvan is starting on the blue side, but that kind of signals to me that he's going to try to blow flashes bot early.
Yeah, J4 pathing towards that bot side for sure would give me that feeling as well. Especially because, you know, we talked about how Seraphine and MF are so immobile. So if that's a Maokai flash into a J4 gang, that's a kill or all summoners for either of those champions.
Smoothie definitely has to play aggressive while he has the opportunity. Eventually the dog won't let you do it. I do like the door and ring start. It's very smart for your window of opportunity to bully the Nessus.
I like the Doran's Rain start too, but then I'm thinking if we're gonna start Doran's Rain, let's just go full send and take Comet. Because we're gonna have that bullying window early anyway. Grasp isn't gonna really do much for us in this game. I would like to see the Comet personally, but I can see taking Grasp in the melee matchup. You figure you'll proc it a lot.
Yeah, especially early game. Nessus doesn't have Grasp to level it out, so you're getting more value out of trading than he is.
Yeah, good trades there from Smoothie. He took the tower shot, so it makes it a little bit less good. But, he's getting that damage down, but at the cost of his mana. Nasus going to regen his health from his passive and still have, plenty of mana to work with here. Shouldn't be feeling too bad. Has the fleet as well to assist in healing up. It's, mid lane kind of just looking like a farm fest. Same with top lane, aside from the bullying. And like you said earlier, Jarvan is bot side right now. Probably going to look for that scuttle grab and then potentially a gank into the bot lane. I don't think they have any vision down there yet for red side. They might have a ward, but can't quite see it. Oh, they do have a ward in that bush. Okay, so Jarvan will be spotted if he goes down there. Looks like they might have pinged it off.
Unfortunately, they have the wave crashing, and I don't think they have the damage to dive.
I don't think they have the damage to dive either. It looks like they might be looking for a play anyway. Now they're just going to try to get some harass off here. Jarvan, again, backing now. Not going to risk running bot lane. Knows it's warded. Udyr making his way back towards his Gromp. Just going to be probably seeing a full clear here from Zulmorn. Farming pretty efficiently so far. Already back on his Gromp and it just spawned. Jarvan's a little behind. Maybe Udyr can make something happen bot. Pretty quiet early game here. Tactic kind of going how you expected. I don't think we really expected to see too much aside from the maybe early Jarvan gank. But how are you liking what you're seeing? You think we're going to see any major plays made from either of these teams soon?
If I'm Deity in this position, I don't think I want to be power farming alongside the Udyr, because I think Udyr gets more value out of that than Jarvan does.
Oh, absolutely.
And obviously we don't want to force ganks. That's not exactly what I'm saying, but it's sometimes you have to just fish for an opportunity.
Especially on a champion like Jarvan, like that is the early gank master. If you can get something off here, you have a really, really, really good setup in bot lane. So I think I would really like to see Deity, really try to. I think you can force bot lane personally if you get vision on Udyr. But if they really try to force a play down there, if they can get good vision control and track Udyr for the next couple minutes, maybe try to get that early dragon onto them. I think that's the Hextech dragon. That's a great one to have a one of. I'd really like to see that happen. Maybe incorporate that with a Malphite, TP gank with that ult, having level 6. We'll have to see if they do it. Jarvan's on bot side right now. Not sure how close he is to that ultimate. So he's walking in. Sitting on the pink ward. There's no vision for Titan Gaming Mox in that top side river bush for them. Or in the bot side river bush, rather. But Jarvan opting to just walk back up towards the mid lane. It's going to be first blood, actually, from Bentage onto Goat King Reaper. While we were tracking that, Jarvan just gets taken down in the 1v1.
I think they look to Dragon, right now. If they wait too much longer, I don't know if their window will close.
Yeah, it was a nice little flash play from the Maokai. Unfortunately, not quite enough damage. Burned the Ignite as well, so Bentage going to walk out of there with barely his life, and Beard can make his way back down towards the bot lane with Deity. They might look for this dragon here, as you said. Still have Zulmorn in the jungle, but I don't think he'll be able to do much without the Ghost. And nobody on his team is really around to help him, so probably just gonna have to give this one up.
They definitely need to get it done before MF and Seraphine hit 6. Is kind of what I was worried about.
Yeah, that ultimate power spike is just so big from them. So, I mean, they're walking over now, but they're only level 5, and they might actually be walking to their deaths, but no. Goat King Beard getting right on top and get back with the Arcane Smash. Actually, from the Misfortune, so unable to even do anything, has the flash and burns it, but still going to end up dying. Trinity now getting ulted on, flashed away out of the Jarvan ultimate, but those cooldowns should be back soon for Jarvan. You got to think this is just going to be another kill. Gets the flag and drag and takes down Trinity. 2 kills for the side of the Goat Kings and the objective. I really don't like walking up to that as the bot lane for Titan Gaming, in that situation when they're set up, you don't have to face check.
Yeah, if you don't have 6 there's just no reason to. Your Udyr doesn't have Ghost, you don't have ultimates, and their characters just have more ability to get on top of you. On top of that, the mana costs on MF are ridiculous early game.
Yeah, she was almost immediately.
You make it rain like twice, and then you're basically almost out of mana.
Oh, we have a gank here. Mid lane, Goat King Beard gonna get stunned up by Ventage. Slowed down. We'll see. Oh, the sapling from the bush that he prepared earlier is gonna be there. Ventage has no flash. Goat King Beard just on this Maokai. These audience just giving him the style points. I think that might have been a fat finger, but Beard's playing this support like a jungler. Gonna interrupt the Misfortune ult as well, but I think it might still be his death. Can maybe try to save his mid laner, unable to. Reaper gonna fall, and Beard gonna fall here as well. Deity in pretty bad spot, probably has to try to walk this one out. Doesn't have flash, we'll see if he has the flag drag to get out. Does, but it's after the root. I think they can still chase him down. You have Sivir here now, layering some damage down. Jarvan is so low, pops the heal, Sivir running back, spell shield there to block a little bit of damage. Jarvan getting rooted up. I don't think you want to look for this one, Deity. Escape with your life. That was close.
Yeah, that was a good interrupt on the MF ult, but a little unfortunate that we couldn't save Victor.
Yeah, I think you just can't be there as the Victor in that situation, flashless. I don't think you're allowed to be in that part of the jungle with no vision, but, they were feeling a little hyphy from that last play. Feeling good. You still got to play tempered a little bit, though. They got to slow down a little bit, because they're giving, honestly, Titan Gaming Mox has a gold lead. I assume a lot of that's in the top lane. If we take a look at that CS lead, if we can get the gold pulled up.
It's mostly on the ADC.
It might be on the Misfortune as well. Yeah, only 300 in the top lane, yeah. Yeah, Misfortune is massively ahead. Yeah, as I'm saying that, I'm looking bot lane like, oh yeah, Misfortune has 3 kills, actually. And now they have those ultimates. We'll see if we can get something going. Nasus just popping the ult and running out. I don't think he's really in much danger here. Even if Malphite ults, I think he might just have to do it to peel. Nasus just beating the down onto Goat King Reaper. Malphite ult's down, and he's still getting the crap beat out of him by this Nasus, giving him the DK and healing. Still alive, taking so much damage now. He's Smoothie with Xerath peppering down the fire, tanking the aggro there. Zulmorn gonna end up falling from that tower shot, and actually Fenn's falling as well from the tower shot, so 2 kills go over, and we're fighting to the bottom lane at the exact same time. Ultimate's flying from Jarvan and Misfortune, but Misfortune ends up falling in the Jarvan ultimate to Sivir, as I think Trinity will escape. About 3rd HP left there, but there's fighting all over the map here, Tactic.
Yeah, that was a good shutdown to get over to Sivir. I think Envy needs to kind of settle down on these roams and kind of get his levels and get some CS.
Yeah, I think so as well. I mean, it's just that CS is just gap is just getting larger. I really like the way that Titan Gaming's fighting back and finding these kills in these exchanges, but I do still worry about kind of what we talked about in draft with the ease of execution for these 2 team comps. This is a pretty even game state, getting pretty close to the mid game. I don't really expect grouped Dragon or Herald fights to just automatically go the way of Titan Gaming because they have a lead now. I still expect it to be quite hard for them to play these team fights into what Goat Kings have put together. So we'll see if they can get set up actually on these, because if they're not set up, it's a little harder to play that team fight comp. Malphite gonna actually pop the ultimate up there. Jarvan coming in as well, so layering that CC pretty well fenced. Not having Ghost is just completely stuck here. Actually almost takes out Deity. That would have been a tragedy if he's able to do that, but you know, that happening that way right there means that next time that happens in like maybe 15 minutes, that is a kill for the Nasus. So that's going to be something they're going to have to think about here, Tactic, in these next couple minutes. But, you know, with that kill secured, I'd think that Goat Kings might be able to set up for this dragon.
Trinity Force for Nasus. I thought Divine Silver might be better here.
Man that knows what he wants. As Zulmorn kind of chasing away the Malphite up top, maybe just opting to give this dragon, as Jarvan's already on the bot side of the map, unbeknownst to them. Perhaps when they see him, they'll opt to give it. Maokai actually getting the flash there and the cleanse from Misfortune, who pops ultimate. Doesn't really hit much of anything, but Jarvan actually flashing into the tower. It's going to end up falling here to the tower of Misfortune. So a kill shutdown going over to MF is actually pretty huge. Has that blue buff now. Won't be as much mana concerns, you know, in the next little while for the MF, but ooh, a lot of damage going out there onto Sivert. Xerath now has roamed down, maybe looking to push the fight. Udyr here as well, just actually sprinting straight in over the pink where stun's gonna land. Let's see if they follow it up with the combo. Not quite enough damage. Xerath flashing for the auto attack, but and shorting the Q, actually not enough to get that one done. Would have liked to see him just charge that Q and take that. Ends up burning the flash, but you know, maybe gives him a window for Dragon.
He had ult up. I don't know if flash was necessary, but maybe he wanted to save ult for something else. Oh, he ulted now.
He ulted now. It's about sending a message sometimes in attack. Just like this, you know, stun on the Jarvan. He's going to end up getting in there, has the ultimate, ends up dunking down onto Vantage, but gonna kill him as well. And Deity now here stunned up, but I don't think he's too worried about it. He has Reaper right there behind him, flashing at Mastery 7 mode right there in their faces after killing them on their own tower. You love to see that energy here in the finals.
Yeah, I definitely like the kills going to Victor here, because I think he's going to be key once we get to more 5v5s. Victor's going to be a huge component to the Goat Kings winning team fights.
Absolutely. I mean, and Nasus just eating the Malphite ultimate up there. You know, Malphite burns his full combo, is Nasus laughing while auto-attacking Malphite and healing the entire time. So, I mean, I think this matchup's just going to continue to get worse for the Malphite, obviously. Has an XP lead right now and is doing decent and keeping up in farm, has that kill to his name as well, but you know, you consider all of that and then the fact that Nasus is still winning these exchanges, it does not bode super well. I think kind of as expected as the Malphite ultimate goes through here in the bot lane. Should be able to follow it up with a W. He was actually walking to the Misfortune. Love that play from Malphite, but he messes it up. He actually walked to the Misfortune to hit her back because she's flashless, but he hit her further away. Totally fine though. Good play from the Maokai. We'll see if they can stop this Herald from charging. It looks like they will be able to.
It's okay. We're struggling with the differences between trees and rocks, but
yeah, there's a lot of trees and rocks on this map, man. You know, I was just watching a Bob Ross Joy of Painting special today, so you know, we're right in there with the trees and the rocks and the happy little Malphites, so really gonna be great for the ocean map as well. You get all that extra grass, but you know, and Goat King's gonna get this extra gold here in the tower now, and they're really actually shaping up to a pretty strong mid game off the back of just, I think, the power of their champions that they've drafted for themselves.
at some point the second dragon got taken and the directed camera didn't see fit to show us that. It's kind of funny.
It's a fickle god, the directed camera. You know, it works most of the time. Sometimes you miss some pretty hype stuff. But, you know, as soon as I say hype stuff, it flashes to Malphite just rolling that cheese roll at the Nasus. That's about as hype as they've gotten up there all game. They have been fighting a lot, but, you know, it's not a great-looking fight. Just kind of slap each other. But, you know, we're here for it. Can we get a Nasus counts check-in? Stacks check-in.
350.
350. Jesus, 354 for the Nasus. It's insane. I don't play Nasus, so I don't know if that's good, but it seems like a whole lot as we got the Seraphine ultimate going down onto Victor, but just ends up one-shotting her return on the back end. Gonna end up falling, but making that play. A 3v1, a 1-for-1 is so impressive as the spell shield comes through to block some of the damage, but it's not going to get all of it. Misfortune takes him down. That is another kill for the MF in this game. Not sure how to pronounce the name. Arma Fidelio, I guess. But that is just 6 and 2. Just so much gold. Such a long name also. It's a long... it's a long Demon Misfortune ultimate. You gotta say it. Just picking up that kill. Up almost 3,000 gold there in the bot lane. If we can toggle back to the items, it's just the gold leaves just so massive for that 80 carry. And, Malphite continuing to slap the Nasus, but every time he goes for the all-in, it just seems like it's just not there. But pretty low now, honestly. Might be thinking about it, but...
It's really smart of Malphite getting that Bramble early to help even out the trades.
Yeah, I respect that buy. It's really helping him out. The passive shield also blocking too much. Goes for the ultimate. Doesn't actually see the Udyr there, but it doesn't matter. Udyr are also going to get stuck inside the Jarvan ultimate. They're tanking it. Malphite gets taken so low as now Maokai is up here as well. Should just be a dead Zulmorn, and that will be him falling. The TP going to be burned by Bentage to make sure they can't get more by taking that tower. As Misfortune was actually on a flank and behind them. Somehow ended up running back in front of them. Xerath ultimate gonna get tagged up there by the Maokai. Not gonna end up actually killing Maokai either. Misfortune, I don't know how Arma Fidelium wound his way up through that lane, just running past all of them, but he did it. Now actually gonna end up running back in and going towards them, but there's a lot of beef left over there for the Goat Canes. I don't know if Misfortune really wants this one.
It's actually pretty hilarious how fast you move when you activate Ghost Blade.
Yeah, literally just zooming. Should have got a Cloud Soul. Would have been a lot more of the zooms, but Reaper on a ward here doesn't know it. Now we'll find out that he is spotted on that pink ward. Now Zulmorn will chase them off. Zulmorn actually getting, I was gonna say Zulmorn actually in a pretty bad spot there. Doesn't have flash, he's just knocked back into the team. Pops the ultimate, but is actually trapped by the Jarvan, has to run the whole way around. Jarvan getting up to the back end there, ends up taking down Seraphine, and we talked about earlier, just an immobile champion for the Seraphine. Gonna run back in though. Still incredibly tanky, and Zulmorn might have done it off a little more than he could chew. Same with Fence though, just running in, popping that E to see if he could actually find anything with it, but not quite enough damage. Xerath ultimate gonna come through. Will find a kill if he ends up hitting the shot. He does. Goat King Beard falling as the rest of the team from the Goat Kings. Health bars are a little low and blinking, but could kind of say the same for Titan Gaming, but they're going to be the ones that are starting that dragon up.
Insert Pokemon noise here.
We might just have another fight on our hands pretty soon because it looks like Goat Canes actually really want to go to contest this one. This would be sole point for them. So we'll see if they actually go for this. Reaper is posturing like he wants to get in there. I don't think they actually can. It ends up falling because he's so close to the wall. Doesn't respect the auto attack range that can come out of Misfortune, dealing so much damage. Malphite, no ultimate, unable to actually get in there and threaten anything onto Misfortune. Has to stand there and watch his boys die. Arma Fidelium just popping off in this game. 8 and 2 in this Misfortune right now. Just such a massive lead. Sitting on 3 items versus the item and a half of his counterpart on the Sivir. Trinity, though, is going to end up falling here. This is somewhere you can't really be as the Seraphine at this point in the game, especially flashless. You're against that team with so much CC. If you're ever by yourself, you're definitely dying. Just tanking the tower and running back in, just complete Giga Chad on the Nasus. Pops the Wither there. Might actually end up falling here if he's not careful, but directed camera's panning us back up the top where Malphite's tanking the tower, actually stunned, so he couldn't finish the auto attack, and he's gonna end up falling to the Xerath ultimate. That was so well played by Bentage. Oh my god, he knew the tower would live. His homie actually helping him out there, the 6th man getting the extra damage, and Reaper getting chased off. Fence is just a problem in this game. We talked about Victor matching him, which it does seem a bit more effective than the Malphite. but he just, like you said, a wither, and has to leave. So I don't know how they can match this Nasus.
I think it's optimistic to say that you just fight it when its ult's down, but his ult has like a really low cooldown, so you have such a short window to do that, and then as soon as he gets Ghost back as well, it's even tougher.
Yeah, maybe they do just have to match him with the Malphite, just so at least it's someone that he can't really kill outright.
Yeah, unfortunately we need Victor for team fights, so it sucks that Malphite has to be that guy, because we also need Malphite for team fights, but if you have to sacrifice either Malphite or Victor, I think you have to sacrifice the Rock, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think so as well at this point, and plus the Rock TP flanks are so much more effective. As we see the Xerath ultimate popped, didn't really see where that one went, not sure if he even ended up shooting those out. Kind of turned off the engage, maybe caught some vision on the team members that they didn't see before. Maokai a little low, does end up arcade smashing the Nasus away, who's just running down the entire team though. You got Malphite and Jarvan on the back line for Titan Gaming Mox, and then you have just Nasus killing everybody on Beard as Xerath was off to the top side, kind of spectating this one. Not going to get too much damage down there. Gets a little chunk on the Deity, and it was enough because Fence is just there beating the crap out of him. Oh my goodness, this Nasus is just unstoppable. This guy actually 1v4 on the backline while his team killed the enemy backline and just is still alive.
I think it's gross how little mana his Q costs. It's like it looks like he has like no mana bar, but he's still able to Q. It's just disgusting to me.
Yeah, I gotta say that I'm a little disappointed in if the Gokanes are going to draft this team fight comp, you want to make sure you're actually setting up on these objectives and having all of your CC available for when you want your damage windows to happen. And it's kind of seemed like either one or two of them are getting caught in the middle of the map in kind of the neutral zone before a lot of these fights happen. And then if they're fighting man down, if they don't have all that peel, which they need all that peel for the Nasus, then it's a little harder. So, I mean, I still think that they can win a 5v5, but if they keep fighting like this, it's going to be pretty tough.
Curious what this third item for Sivir is going to be. If I were in the Sivir's position, I think I would have went for Dom's third item, just because we have to be able to kill Nasus as fast as possible.
I'm thinking he might just be finishing those boots with that dagger and still building into the Doms. I would hope so, because I agree with you that is probably the optimal build. Actually, Jarvan gonna miss the flag drag there and actually get tagged up by the Seraphine ultimate. You have the TP coming in though. So much damage put down to Armor Fidelity and couldn't even auto-attack in that fight. Zulborn gonna run away now, and we think they can disengage this. Malphite ultimate not available, and Misfortune and Victor just kind of blowing up so quickly there. I think Goatcanes might have a Baron angle here with, two of the main damage threats down on the side of Titan Gaming Mox. I don't really think there's a way with two champions in Nasus and Udyr that don't have flash even, that they can possibly contest this. We're just turning. Okay, we're turning onto the Nasus, just previously 1v4 this. Let's see if we can actually make this work. AD carry gonna get insta-deleted, so that's no damage left now. Nasus gonna also two-shot the Maokai just about. Is gonna end up falling, but, I honestly think that's worth it if you're the side of Titan Gaming Mox, because now the rest of your team's here. Goatkin Reaper also had TP'd back in and is able to put the damage down into Zulmorn, doing so much here on this Victor. Deity maybe looking for more. Doesn't quite have that ultimate. It has the smite to maybe get some HP and slow on, and gets the knock-up actually. Bentage gets taken out, punished for not having that flash, and Jarvan just looking so disruptive for the backline of Titan Gaming, kind of what we talked about, but seeing it play out right there in that extended skirmish.
Yeah, it was a little interesting that Malco decided to just walk into the melee range of Nasus instead of heading towards debuff. But is what it is.
Yeah, see the ultimate's still available as well. I'm not sure if that's just a short cooldown or it wasn't popped. Same with the Maokai one at this point. Probably gonna assume Maokai's is just a pretty short cooldown now. Should be around 45 seconds-ish, but yeah, I would like to see the positioning fixed from blue side. I think that Goatcanes have, we talked about this already, but I think they have a pretty good advantage in actual straight-up 5v5 team fights if they can peel properly, but I think that just gets harder and harder by the minute, the way that it looks like they're playing these team fights and the way that Fence is maximizing his space. It's just looking pretty tough.
Red team's turn.
Honestly, still up in the air though. I'm not ready to say who's winning this one yet. I really like the dragon control that Goat Kings have had. I think Ocean Soul actually makes it pretty easy for them to team fight into this team. I mean, even if they're messing up some positioning, they're healing so much as well that gives them a little bit of a lead. Obviously, like a different Dragon Soul, it's kind of one of the worst ones, but not the worst one. Any Chemtech haters?
Oh, Chemtech Soul? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that dragon's trash.
It is trash. They should revert it back to its original OP form and just like nerf its like rate of spawn on the map.
Yeah, I don't necessarily hate the whole plants mutating. It's just
I actually like that. I think it adds an interesting dynamic with those blast cones.
yeah, the blast cones definitely add a lot of different ideas that you can try for.
Hearing you say Triforce made me look at Udir's build, and he is building that Triforce. What do you think about that? We got some questions in the chat about the Udir build.
Triforce on Udyr can be good if you're going the AD route with maxing Tiger Stance. Against this team that they're against, I don't think maxing Tiger Stance is correct. I think maxing Phoenix Stance is better, which is you rush the Demonic Embrace and then go for Jack Shows.
Just a little beefier.
Well, it's not necessarily beefier, it's just, it plays a lot better to what your team, needs. Because, the invoking of the Phoenix Stance actually does a lot against these beefier members of, Goat Kings.
Yeah, I like the Jack Show. It feels like it would make you survive a little bit longer, but maybe opting for that Trinity Force, thinking he can slap him around a little bit in these fights. Maybe the logic is if he kills Sivir or Victor, it's kind of hard for them to win the fight, which I think we've actually seen to be true. Maybe just looking for more of that burst damage, but we're gonna have to see because we're at 30 minutes now. Tactic. This is a pretty long game. We're gonna be getting some full builds coming in here if people are farming well. For at least some of the champions in the next couple minutes. You think we'll see Fence and the boys contest for the Dragon Soul, or do we do a Baron swap because they don't really view Ocean Soul as that strong? I personally would take that play. What do you think we're going to see from them? Do you think they're going to actually fight for this dragon?
If I'm Titan Gaming Mox, I think the Dragon Soul is a very juicy prize. Honestly, if I'm Goat Kings, I'm playing for Baron, and if they want another dragon, that's fine. Because I would rather have. I think both teams should be prioritizing Baron, just because if Titan Gaming Mox gets Baron, that's really bad because now you have a huge split push threat, even more so from Nasus. And it's really tough, even with the wave clear of Victor and Sivir, to eat those Baron minions.
Well, I think Tactic that they might have made their decision for themselves. They killed the jungler for Titan Gaming Mox. Zumorn going to end up falling there, sacrificing his life for the Scuttlecraft, so you can watch him take that dragon. Fence might have something to say about it as Jareth Ultimate's actually peppering down on to Reaper, but he has red buff and he can get some plants. I think he's going to be all right. Gets that health regen. Nasus actually just running straight at them. Literally does not care. Jarvan on a flank. Gets on Xerath, but there's no follow-up here. The Maokai ultimate is going to come down to peel the Nasus. Jarvan now back on the Nasus, peeling for his team. Is the Misfortune ultimate going to layer so much? Malphite actually ulting MF there to cancel it. Gonna end up flashing out. We'll see if he can kite this out. Jarvan now getting on top of him. Doesn't quite get the knockup. Does actually get the knockup at the end there. Didn't look like it was going to, but he actually gets it. Gets slowed down. Not going to knock up Trinity as we have Ventage on the back end, slaying Malco on the Sivir, and now poking down onto the rest of the members of Sivir's team, the two that remain running away with no HP, as we have three very healthy members from Titan Gaming Mox looking to take this dragon.
It's really unfortunate that Deity and Smoothie kind of had to abandon their team to stop MF from deleting the front line, but good on Titan Gaming Mox to kind of stall out this Dragon Soul, which would have made their game plan a lot harder.
I'm just gonna say that Zeroth ultimate was just cast. This cooldown is insane. They kill him with it again and take the dragon, and you can see it's already 25% back up. He is just gonna be permanently getting them with that. Vintage, the American sniper, and they're looking to the Baron now as well. What do you do here if you are the Goat Kings? Do you just run in and contest this? Like, it's already so low. They're there, but I don't think it's going to quite be enough. It looks like the call from Titan Gaming just to finish this off. They do end up getting it with the smite, but Zulmer are going to fall for that. Falling to the Malphite actually gets a double kill. MF Ultimate's going to push the rest of them away. We'll see if Reaper can actually make it out with Beard. Looks like they will, but Zeroth popping the ultimate ends up killing Reaper on the back end of this and also hitting Smoothie, gonna take him down as well. This Zeroth just looking so clean from Vintage. Picking up the Baron buff, Nasus slapping down the Kayn, and that is almost an ace. Jarvan, the only one left alive, running up mid lane. Oh man, it is just a domination now from Titan Gaming.
I can smell a Xerath ban coming next game. I can already tell.
Yeah, he is looking way too scary on this pick, and you know, I really do think you do have to ban it away, like you said. Like, there's not another champion really in the meta right now that can replicate what Xerath does. Such a unique pick. Jarvan just going to stop the back of Fence here. I don't even actually know if he wants to take this fight. He might go for it because Fence is should just be able to run this one out, though. Does have that blast cone. But yeah, you know, like you said, Xerath ban. You think they're going to change anything else up in the draft? I mean, this one's looking pretty over. There's always a chance for the Goat Kings here with their draft and Dragon Soul point, but you know, you got to think with the way these fights are looking, right?
Yeah, I understand the pick of a utility ADC. My only problem with going with Sivir as your utility ADC is she just doesn't provide enough, at least in her current state, and it's not that Malco's piloting it awfully, it's just that Sivir just doesn't do enough.
Yeah, take a look at the items down there in the AD carries. As we get taking a look here to fight in the mid lane. Maokai gonna ultimate. Maybe they can get this kill here in the Vintage. Looked like he overstepped a lot. Misfortune throwing down that ultimate, trying to layer back some damage on it. And then Deity gonna be pretty low. Gonna end up getting taken down here. Zulmorn actually just looks so tanky right now in this front line that if the damage isn't really being laid onto him, he's just able to run around freely. And even if they are, Smoothie there, gonna end up killing Trinity, but pretty squishy himself. Gonna get popped. Zulmar might have to back off this. Their Sivir Boomerang Blades are gonna start to hurt. Flimsy Fence just hitting him with the Kayn. That was about 50% of his HP right there in one Q. Absolutely disgusting from the Nasus. So many stacks, about 850 I think at this point, 860.
I think if your idea is to draft a utility ADC, something like either like Boris or Ashe would be better here, because at least that way you have somebody that can deal percent health damage to Nasus pretty easily based off of like how they traditionally build.
Not to mention the extra layering of CC as well. I really like that point. Like, you know, in this kind of a comp, you know, Sivir is at 3 items. She does do a lot of damage at 3 items, but Misfortune has 6 items. So it's just the damage profile that you mentioned you were worried about in the beginning kind of ended up playing itself out in the way that in the picture you kind of had painted. You know, their damage is a little low. While they had really good CC and setup for picks throughout the games, obviously they have more kills than Titan Gaming, but the way these team fights are playing out, it just seems like it's just kind of not enough. Just not enough push to really get through that Nasus and Udyr.
I don't think I've ever seen Spear Shogun on Jarvan. I don't think I've seen that one before.
I haven't either. It's kind of the flavor of the month right now. It's the bruiser item. You know, all the cool bruisers are doing it. You got to get it. So you see Maokai going in and trying to get an engage to happen here onto fence, but it's just not gonna work. Malphite now ulting back onto the Misfortune with Jarvan. That's gonna be enough to take him down, but she got another kill in the meantime, and now Malphite has no HP. Soulmorn's here to slap him in the face. Bearman says what's up. They're running it down mid lane right now. The surrender vote failed for the blue team 2-2, but they're pushing it right up mid. They wouldn't have had to surrender anyway. Nasus is going to end the game, popping the cane on those towers, doing about a third of the HP on them every single attack. Just absolutely dominant performance from the top laner from Titan Gaming, and that's going to be game one going to Titan Gaming. Honestly, it looks like Titan Gaming were saying hail Satan that game and sacrificing some goats, man. That was tough at the end. They were just slaughtering them in those team fights.
Yeah, it's a little unfortunate when you're stuck in this position where Nasus needs to die for your team to even be able to do anything. But then while everybody's trying to kill the Nasus, Misfortune and Seraphine are able to just stack ults on top of your heads. And now your front line has to go deal with the people that are deleting your team. It just makes for a very messy team fight.
Yeah, and I talked a lot in the draft about how much I liked Goat King's draft. I still like their draft. I think you brought up a really good point about the AD carry, though. We talked about it a little bit at the end of the game, but you would really like to see a little bit more damage coming out of there from the bot lane, because you have to think, if you have all those champions CCing someone and you have an AD carry that could just hit them and actually kill him and do damage to him, it might be a little more effective. So we'll see if they make that kind of an adaptation. But man, Titan Gaming Mox, just a show of dominance in that game, being honestly pretty behind early. At least in kills, I think the gold was actually relatively even the whole game. But it looked like there was a little bit of a fight to the Goat Kings there. I don't expect them to go down easy. I think next game's going to be another banger.
I 100% agree.
It's Poppy time in the chat. Sivir is super good at team fight damage. Doesn't have the best fights to really use it. Thoughts, Tactic? I'm gonna hit you with chat questions, by the way. Just be ready for it.
In my personal opinion, while I don't necessarily disagree that Sivir is traditionally a really good team fight ADC just based off of how her kit works, and I don't disagree with the fact that because Nasus exists, she just can't step up. But again, it's my idea that if we're trying to draft for a utility ADC, I just don't think Sivir is the best option. That's just my personal opinion. She does provide a lot for that particular team comp. But she just doesn't do a lot of damage to champions, and because Nessus exists, it makes it that much harder. And again, I'm not necessarily faulting Malco. It's just the circumstances were against him, and you just have to plan for that. Is all I'm saying.
I like thinking about it like really simply. Like, if you have a dog chasing you, is the best thing you can do run away, or is it shoot it with a giant frozen arrow that stops it in its place? Yeah, I think the extra CC is a good point. If you're drafting for utility, maybe they'll make that adaptation. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I just love how many kills we got in that game. We had like 70 kills there, man. That is a complete banger for game one of the series. Should be getting into the champ select for game two in a couple minutes here. But do you expect to see any big adaptations? Do you think that Goat Kings is going to be getting a similar kind of draft? Maybe switches up the 80 carry like we've been harping on. Do you expect top to Titans to actually just run it back?
If I were to predict how the draft is going to go, I think Deity is going to go for something more carry oriented, and I would like Malco to pick a different type of ADC. Again, if we're going with a utility ADC, I hope Sivir isn't the option. I know we've been seeing a lot of Sivir in LCS, but she's typically an answer to Kaisa or Zeri, and it's not necessarily like for the damage. It's just to keep wave states even.
Yeah, I can see that. And if we see Deity going for a carry jungler, I'd be really interested to see, what kind of angle that looks like for them. I'm a big Karthus enjoyer. I think he's extremely good right now. I wonder if either of these guys would pull it out. You don't really see it too often, so
We do have one sub coming in. Zolmorn is out of the jungle, and Perfy is into the jungle.
oh, there we go. Okay.
Helped give his team the W in game one. So that's good enough.
Yeah,
Good luck,
refuses to
boys.
elaborate. It's like, I got my one Udyr in me.
Retire as a champion, as it
Yeah.
should be.
Honestly, yeah, if you're going to go out on top. And if they lose the series, you can act like they would have won if you were there.
Look like pretty similar bands to game one so far.
Yeah, the band's not changing up too much. Going to be taking out those junglers and bot laners for the respective sides. Also on the same sides of the map. Goat King's on blue side again. I wonder if they will prio that Maokai first pick again and maybe flex that. I think it is actually an extremely strong first pick. We'll see if they think anything else is worth taking.
Yeah, I definitely don't think Maokai was necessarily the problem in their draft for sure. I don't disagree with the first pick Maokai. So flexible, so such a good champion right now.
Absolutely. Titan Gaming. See what they respond with. No Xerath ban, Loki pointing out in the chat. Maybe just hoping they don't pick that one early here, but or maybe it's a pick away angle for the Goat Kings, but taking that Jarvan for Titan Gaming, we talked about last game how Miss Fortune didn't have a lot of setup for her ultimate. Jarvan is going to do that in spades. Just such an easy ultimate to set up for these team fights with Miss Fortune. Layer that down. We'll see what Goat Kings answer with. Is a chance to pick that Xerath. Ezreal, a really good answer into that kind of wombo combo setup. I don't even know if Reaper plays Xerath, to be honest. Gonna be the Lux.
I think he would if he saw his lane matchup, but it looks like he's just pre-picking, expecting the Xerath to happen.
And now you do expect that to be a Lux mid. Still pretty flexible from Goat Kings. They could still flex a few of these around, but probably going to be that Lux mid, like you said. Maybe Maokai's support again. And also go top and jungle. Those should be noted as two top laners banned out. Goat King's going to take away that Nasus. And also banning out some bruisers for the side of Titan Gaming. Have the Xerath again, though, so you're going to be feeling pretty good about that if you're Bentage, not going to lie. That just looked so easy to play that last game.
No, Bentage definitely did a really good job of piloting that champion.
I guess they just, okay. So kind of the same idea, just a little bit tankier for that team fight setup. I'm assuming that's an Amumu support. And, the ultimate just a little easier to land in these team fights. Just flash Arain is a lot easier than trying to angle a Seraphine ult. I like that pick from them if they really are committing to this 5v5. But, Goat Kings have the Maokai, so pretty good answer to most 5v5 setups. And the Jin Zhao going to be locked in, signaling a Maokai support. And we'll see maybe what the top lane lock-in is going to be here. They are thinking about it. I think you want some setup for a Jin Zhao gank. Personally, I think you'd take some. I really like that. Pretty strong 2v2 there in the top side. Jin Zhao wants that early kind of lane CC that he can combo off of. His kit is very, very strong with that. Flimsy fence yet again left with counter pick in the top side.
I think if Xerath pops off again this game, if I were Goat Kings, I would substitute the probably the Aatrox for a Xerath ban. Just because if we're drafting for Smoothie to be weak side, I don't know if Aatrox is like the biggest problem in that scenario.
Yeah, I agree with that. They might just think the Aatrox too OP to leave open, but when
Well,
you
like-
said substitute there, I thought you were going to say it's sub out a player or something. I was like,
No.
spicy, Jesus.
No, just substitute the ban. Well, yeah, I can agree that Aatrox can be pretty oppressive in the correct hands. I just don't know how much it would impact the game versus Xerath. At least based off of what we saw last game, right? I could just be talking nonsense because maybe Vintage doesn't repeat the performance, but if he does, I think that might have to be a consideration.
I agree. I kind of respect testing it again, saying that game didn't go the way we wanted it to. We were in that game, we had kills, we were pretty even in gold for a lot of it. We don't think that was the problem. It just looks oppressive at the end because, we're losing. There's so much pressure in our back line, but, maybe we can beat it this time. Picked a long range mage themselves in the mid lane, and honestly picked some good skirmishing. Jin Zhao, Maokai, Ornn. I think they can get it done here in the early game. I think they have a stronger skirmishing comp. The problem is we have to see them convert that, because last game they had some strong skirmishes early, but they weren't able to convert that into a lead and actually entered the mid game at a deficit. So I want to see them kind of take advantage of their early game here and see if they can get anything done.
Yeah, it was really unfortunate circumstances a couple of times where it's like it was going Goat King's way and then they would get picked, or like a couple of fights just didn't go their way, and it's just like we drafted a good team, but now we're just not playing the skirmishes correctly.
Yeah, we'll see if they can clean that up. I think vision as a team is going to be really important for them. If they want to get these skirmishes, they really have to be tracking that Jarvan and kind of knowing where Xerath is at, knowing Xerath's ultimate cooldown, because he can join even from half a screen or a full screen away at certain points in the game. So you really want to be making sure your vision control is on point for blue side here. So Jin Zhao can optimally play the aggro like Jin Zhao wants to play on the map.
Yeah, I definitely like the Xin Zhao pickup, just because it kind of fulfills a little bit extra that Jarvan doesn't supply, and can snowball really, really hard and punish like this gangplank that takes a while to get online, and possibly even punish the Xerath that also takes a while to get online.
Yeah, absolutely. Xerath's one of those champions that if you burn that flash early, you have something like a Lux that can set up with a slow into a Xin Zhao, then into a binding, or vice versa. That's something that they can execute pretty easily with those two champions. I'd like to see some pressure in that mid lane onto the Xerath. Really don't let him get a lead and start impacting, like you mentioned in last game, just massive impact from the Xerath. We'll see if they can stymie that this game. I like the odds on the champions they have, but I liked the team fight comp they had last game, and we didn't really pull that one out. So we'll see if they have any adjustments. Pretty similar type of draft from them.
Alright, while we wait to load into the game, I just need to go take a quick bathroom break.
All right, chat. Well, tactics in the little caster's room. I want to see predictions in the chat. 1 for blue side win, 2 for red side win. I know I'm probably just going to see Timberland type 3 or something, but that's also okay.
Liking the mods for Goat Kings right now. I know Time Giving Mox has the advantage. They have the momentum going, but it's 4-1 right now. It's pretty good betting odds.
Oh yeah, geez, those odds. These odds are wild. Oh, they just increased for Goat Kings. Oh, that never mind.
11.2k. Somebody's throwing their weight around for Titan
Yeah,
Gang Mox. They got belief.
somebody just put it on the table. Dude, do you play Yu-Gi-Oh or have you played Yu-Gi-Oh in the past? Are you a Yu-Gi-Oh enjoyer? Even an anime
Not in a
watcher when
very
you
long
a
time.
child? Okay, then you'll appreciate this. I found 3 original edition Blue Eyes White Dragons at my house.
Wow.
I'm
That's
basically ready to go straight to Jeff Bezos and declare myself the leader of Amazon.
It's a good find for sure.
Yeah, it turns out they were worth maybe $11 each. I was like, fuck. Thought I found some value there.
Yeah, unfortunately, as soon as they started coming out with better blue eyes, those blue eyes are just a relic of the past, unfortunately. Shining blue eyes is where it's at.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way. My momentary excitement. But we'll see if Goat Kings learned the hard way from their last draft, kind of getting their faces kicked in there at the end. If they can change it up for this game, maybe play a little bit differently, see them kind of try to get setups and picks with some of this long range they have with saplings as well for these objectives. But seeing Bentage on that Xerath again is not giving me the best feelings for their chances. About 10 seconds here. We're going to have to see. 17.6K versus 15K. Oh, now it's 18 even almost. We got some big spenders going for the Goat Kings here. That just jumped from 18 to 33,000. $20K on Goat Kings. What a legend.
That specific Zinzao skin always, like the splash art, always just makes me think it's Callista, because they share that same skin line, and their splashes almost look identical.
Yeah, that's big true. There's a few champions like that. It's worse when the in-game model looks similar, because then you're just like, what champion even is that? Just seeing a fan out here again. To both sides. No level 1 shenanigans to be had, much to my dismay. I am a level 1 shenanigans enjoyer. Neither team wanting to flip the game 5v5 level 1.
Now's a good time to go ahead and subscribe so you don't get this game interrupted by ads for you.
Minions have spawned.
Jin Zhao, interestingly, starting blue buff. Jarvan will be doing the same, at least from Amumu. So maybe looking to see him head towards that top lane early, which I do like, trying to get Gangplank snowballing. but Jin Zhao looks like he might want to, again, path from blue side on down there to red side, try to get an early gank off. We didn't really see that happen last game. Let's see if he can actually pull it off. Some trading in the top lane. Fence is sitting these 2 barrel combos in a row on a Smoothie. He's going to take a lot of that HP early from the Ornn. Probably will see a level 2 hit here for red side in the bot lane. Going to look for an engage immediately upon that. Lands the bandage toss. Gets rooted up. Not going to go for that second bandage toss, but well done by them to abuse that level 2 spike and get an instant chunk onto Beard. Another chunk from Vintage onto Reaper in the mid lane. Xerath looking pretty sturdy here again, hitting these skill shots, and honestly it looks like Trinity and Arma are just going to be shoving that bot lane in and maybe looking for a bit of a recall here. Don't think there's a big spend, but this Fortune's pretty just wants to push that in and get some mana, run back to lane. With that passive, you really don't lose out on much with how fast you get to move.
Yeah, it's especially once you get the having a bit of a brain fart, Ghost Blade. It just, like, the cooldown is so low that you can just use it to get to lane constantly.
Honestly, pretty OP. Just kind of like a mini teleport. Orange shoving in Gangplank up top as well, but you know, Fence getting the better end of a lot of these trades, able to hit that barrel combo into just the move speed from the passive auto. Gets to dodge out a lot of Orange damage. And end up getting knocked up there, actually. Is going to get the Brittle proc as well, but trades back decently. Might end up getting pressured out here, though. The first strike's going to give that Gangplank so much more gold on top of his passive as well, so I really like that choice from Fence, just to try to snowball this guy as fast as possible. And Jin Zhao on the bottom side, but really not in range for a gank here. Trinity and Arma already had been running up, maybe trying to contest the scuttle. I don't think they want to look for this one. You see the Jin Zhao now. This is pretty face up. I don't think they really want to opt into this, but they have the Jarvan actually, and their mid has collapsed sooner, so they could potentially look for something. Looks like they're going to just back off as Fence hits another barrel up there in the top lane. Infernal Dragon here in 10 seconds tactic. Who do you think's going to prio that? It looks like bot lane shoving in. Their jungler all the way on the top side of the map, though. Could be an angle.
I think Goat King should prioritize it, because Xerath is basically going to be recalling here. It would have to use TP to get anywhere close, and I think...
Didn't even have to burn the flash there, actually. Jarvan just a little too far. Mover going in, but I agree with you. I think Goat Kings definitely should prio this dragon. Xerath's getting pushed in, even here, taking so much damage. The Lux actually looking so good into this Xerath from Vintage, and you know, maybe the correct draft adaptation. They found a pick that actually is looking to be able to really bully it in lane. We see the Ornn combo landing down on defense. Gonna eat some oranges and BK in the top lane. Actually healthier and just hitting that level 6, so having that ultimate might be for a good relook here in bot. You see Jarvan hovering, ends up going in, but just getting arcane smashed immediately back, and the Gangplank ultimate coming down, thinking the CC was going to land, but actually ends up just whiffing completely. So pretty unfortunate, as Ornn, you know, seeing that Gangplank ultimate down, knows that so much of this early DPS could just go straight in, has to flash out. Well played by Smoothie, abusing that window, knowing the ultimate was just used, and immediately going in.
Missed the Xerath window, but MF is also going to have to back here soon, so we still have an opportunity for Goat Kings to hopefully prioritize this dragon, but it just kind of depends on what DD wants to do. Looks like he's looking for Gangplank to come back, possibly.
Yeah, he was going to be channeling that recall. We'll see where he heads after that. I would like to see him go bot. I think that you just permanently play around this Maokai lane or just get some roams off with Maokai even. The Misfortune, just like last game, and the Amumu this game as well. Not a mobile champion, unless you're running from the base, and we talked about that. But, in that lane, very vulnerable to a Maokai that has flash. I would love to see, even flashing onto the Amumu, because that Amumu doesn't have flash. Just make a play happen here with the Xin Zhao early bot. Use your laners, effectively. Jarvan has just been making that so hard, though, because we're seeing Perfy in the bot side yet again. It seems like he's been here almost the entire game. They are really prioing this bot lane. Ends up waiting in the bush as well. You don't expect that if you're Beard. You think you have the prio, and now you just die. Flashes away, and the heal's gonna come through, but it's not enough. The first blood goes to Amumu. Trinity taking that one with the ignite. Gonna turn away from any more fight, but Perfy just waiting there. The long con in the bush. Beard stepped up, thought he could step in, but just gets taken out. It's so terrifying if you're the Maokai in that situation. Jarvan just pops out of the bush at you.
So just a little unlucky timing. I mean, the idea was there. I think we wait a little bit longer for Deity to be in range, but obviously Beard didn't know that Perfy was in the lane.
Yeah, so unfortunate, You think you're setting up for a play. Gets the knock up here in the top lane, actually. The oranges came through, but it wasn't enough. I don't even think he needed the brittle proc there, just with the Bellows Breath damage itself. Just well played by Smoothie, just really abusing these windows that he has an opportunity to go aggro, knowing Ornn is so strong early in Gangplank, like you said, takes that little bit to scale up. Just really, really well played by Smoothie, taking advantage of that with the long range engage with the ultimate in the top lane.
It's a little surprising that it's Titan gave me Mox to get the first prio on the dragon with how long of a window no Kings had on this first dragon, but
yeah, I mean, a little surprising. Just kind of abused that recall timer there from Goat Kings. Maybe left on vision. They knew they weren't there. They're like, hey, we got the numbers. Let's just take this thing. It's Infernal. It doesn't hit very hard. It's not very tanky. Pretty easy take for them. And we'll have to see what the map ends up being, because you have two of the best dragons right now, Inferno and Hextech, ineligible to be selected for the Soul map. So there's a chance you get a real stinker for a dragon with the Chemtech or, Ocean again, but could be something strong like the Mountain. So I think you're really hoping, if you're Titan Gaming, with the way you've kind of set up your team comp here, if you can just fight on these dragons on cooldown, you have the Jarvan, Amumu, Misfortune, you want that to be a strong dragon. You want them to have to fight you with these dragons because you want to use your team fight power. Speaking of team fight power, Ornn gonna have to try to escape here. Ends up getting the root down and actually goes back in for a lot of damage, turning this one around. Benton's gonna have to flash out, but Jarvan, Xin Zhao just here, layering it down, and now Fence is here on the back end. Gonna end up getting a kill for himself, has the red buff. Gonna end up disengaging though, doesn't want to go for that Lux, knows that ultimate is still available, but what a crazy fight. The Ornn damage from the turnaround there after the Lux binding lands was just so heavy. I don't think Bentage expected that. Ends up losing his life and his flash there.
yeah, it was a little unfortunate timing for Deity to go for that Herald, but it was a good turnaround by the Goat Kings.
Yeah, still 3 minutes till plates fall off here, so I think we're going to see a repeat on the Herald from one of these squads. Really going to value that one for taking these extra pieces of gold that you can get on the map with those turret plates. So Ezreal just max range farming right now, pretty safe play, kind of what he needs to do. Doesn't want to get engaged on. Xin Zhao going to get spotted on that pink ward. Going to take that one out, but kind of nullifies the gank here. Going to have to just walk around, find something else to do. Jarvan's currently farming. Still even in CS, so not the worst thing in the world. And the Lux has double buffs too, man. That is just so good. Actually looking for a play here. Force the Maokai flash out. Xerath ultimate gonna also force the Lux flash out. So 2 simultaneous flashes burned by Titan Gaming onto Goat Kings. You know, we got that dragon spawn in under 2 minutes. I think that that's pretty good setup. You have the Amumu flash still available with Jarvan flash still available. If you could just get on to the Lux in the back line, you know, Maokai's going to be a little easier to kill without his flash as well. I really don't think that if you are Goat Kings that you want to contest this next objective without those flashes. I think you're just opting into giving kills over to the enemy team. Maybe they'll look for a pick beforehand.
Let me
Looks
give
like
you
DD
a
might
hug.
be looking to make a play under tower with Horn. I think this is actually a good look if they go for it.
Yeah, I like this a lot. The Ornn ultimate going to come through. Gangplank does have flash, doesn't flash that initial knockup from the Ornn. Isn't even actually going to be able to flash now because he didn't flash early, so going to end up falling. Just saves that one. Lux getting so much damage down in the mid lane, does get stunned up and doesn't quite have the ultimate available, but doesn't even need it. The burst damage from Goat King Reaper, reaping Vantage in the mid lane. This Lux is on fire.
Excuse me.
Turret plating will fall soon.
We were skeptical. I mean, I was skeptical at least about, I was like, is Lux going to be the answer? But Reaper is making it look good.
No, Lux is definitely a good answer to Xerath. It was just a matter of if it was going to play out this way, because you just never know. Both mid lanes are arguably equally vulnerable to the Xin Zhao Jarvan ganks. Probably Xerath more so just because of how slow his innate movement speed is.
Mm. Yeah, I don't know these mid lane matchups. I'm just a big dumb jungler. But I believe you. The Luxus, I mean, it just looks so good right into the Xerath. Like, the range is even longer. The shielding for his harass looking so clean. You see Goat Kings now kind of posturing like they want this dragon. We're going to get that Maokai ultimate and all the CC onto Amumu. He hasn't really taken much damage because he did have that Aftershock proc. And Maokai going to end up falling, so the mastery choice for Amumu coming in handy there as a double kill goes through for the Jarvan. The stun actually going to land in the Hextech Dragon Pit. I don't know if the Dragon actually auto-attacked and helped out with that one, but that is just a 3 for none for the side of Titan Gaming Mox as Smoothie just getting the crap beat out of him in their tower by the Pirate, and Perfy and the boys are just on the Dragon now. It's going to be their second Dragon. We're going to have to see, unless Goat King Reaper can get the steal here with the ultimate, it's going to be revealing the soul for the map. And if you're Titan Gaming, you hope it's a good one as he actually goes in with the bandage toss, flashes, doesn't end up falling, gets so low, and the Misfortune ultimate layered across by Arno Fidelium, doing so much damage there. The Dragon goes through and the Mountains Rise tactic. We see the best Dragon in the game now available for Titan Gaming. In my opinion, I love Mountain Dragon.
As a ADC player, I prefer Infernal, just because it makes me feel like I'm
Jarvan trying to do things here, but just getting chased down. Trinity's so low, gonna end up falling here to the Ezreal. As Fence getting turret though, Smoothie has been actually just clapping in these 1v1s, kind of losing out on gold probably with the Gangplank passive and first strike, but 4 kills to his name in the top lane. If we could take a look at that gold, we'll see actually if there is a big lead up there for the Ornn. I assume they're kind of even, but he has gotten so many plates as well, so probably a bit of a lead.
It's actually fairly even, just due to
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Gangplank gold. But as soon as the ornaments start coming out, that's where the real value of Horn starts to come online.
I'd like to direct your eyes southward. The 80 carry gold difference. Again, 2,000 gold in the lead for this Misfortune. And, you know, we talked about a Xerath ban. Do we need to ban the Misfortune? Arma Fidelium's looked so good on this pick these past 2 games, been getting so much damage off in these fights. I mean, they're not really challenging the Misfortune ultimates or punishing it in lane. It kind of looks like it gets to play the game for free. But, I mean, if he's good at it, do we ban it? Xin Zhao going in, forcing the flash from Vintage, follow flashing, but not quite enough move speed, gonna get slowed down, but actually taken out by the Lux laser from downtown. And now Perfy, maybe not in a great spot, gonna end up falling here, but gets the ultimate down first. Amumu able to get in there as well. Gangplank here to try to throw down some barrels while they're trapped inside of the ultimate. Not able to get damage down on the right targets there, though. They were out before he could layer it, and the Lux is just absolutely chunking them.
Yeah, to answer your question, I'm not entirely sure if banning Misfortune is the answer. It is really good in team fight scenarios, and we've seen it time to time between last game and this game, that if it's allowed to do whatever it wants, it just kind of does ridiculous amounts of damage. So it's either A, you could ban it, or B, you need to take advantage of those windows when MF has no mana, because Make It Rain just costs so much mana, and it just is so difficult if you're not punishing the windows where you have opportunities.
I agree. And, you know, pretty difficult there from Deity. Oh, actually, Flash from Goat King Reaper ends up getting enough damage for the binding, but Deity thought he had that pick there for the 1v1. Xerath's in top lane, and he says no. He ulted from halfway across the entire map. Took him out there. Attorney ended up taking the kill, but I agree with you. I think there is some windows here that the Goat Kings can punish this Misfortune in the lane. We saw the Jarvan and the Xin Zhao in each of these games from the Goat Kings start blue side, look to path down towards bot lane. We didn't really see that materialize, unfortunately. I think kind of Titan Gaming, you know, recognizing that, maybe expecting it, as Misfortune getting jumped on now in the mid lane. See if this ends up being a kill. The Maokai root goes through, Cleanse comes out, but the Ornn actually doesn't go through. Might just be a spectator bug, but they end up getting the kill in the end. Ornn taking that kill. Smoothie actually just really performing on this Ornn pick. I really like to see this.
The only other answer that I could possibly think of for Misfortune
That barrel.
for Misfortune ADC would be like maybe a Nocturne or like a Rek'Sai jungle, where you just like are just going for this Misfortune as often as possible pre-mid-game.
Yeah, I would love to see that. I mean, I think Nocturne is pretty good right now. I think Rek'Sai is kind of a trap pick. I think that's a solo queue hero right there. The kind of the more organized play. It's so hard to make more efficient use of her tunnels. But I do think she is a very strong early ganker. Yeah, maybe we'll see.
I think Deity definitely has the capacity to pilot her effectively. It's just a matter of if it's effective to Goat King's game plan or not.
Maokai ultimate gonna be grind here. They're trying to get on that Xerath immediately. They want to take that one down. Revenge from last game. They say, Vintage, you are not playing the game this time. Jarvan ultimate gonna go through, but Trinity is gonna already immediately kill the Xin Zhao. Kiting away on the Ornn here, and Titan Gaming just asserting dominance on this Dragon Pit and trying to set themselves up with Soul Point. Oh, the CC chain onto Smoothie there. The Amumu going in off the barrel slow. Gonna root him in place and actually hits the follow-up bandage toss as well, but it's kind of low. I think actually might want to back off this one. Ornn ultimate coming down. Dies before the second proc can actually go through. And that's just gonna be Dragon. Soul Point going to Titan Gaming.
Definitely going to be impacting these team fights the hardest.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it last game, right? Like just having the buttons to choose the fights you want to choose. I think last game we saw that on the side of Goat Kings, but I honestly think this game, by nature of having the Jarvan and Mumu, even the Gangplank ult, we see that for the side of Titan Gaming. And they were winning the team fights last game, even though their comp was a little bit harder to execute. It's a little worrying for me that we're seeing them pilot this composition so well into what Goat Kings have drafted. It looks like they're not really scared of any kind of team comp from Goat Kings, and they're just going to try to win each of these team fights kind of regardless. Looks like they're trying to kind of hands diff every fight.
Looks like Arma decided to go more the on-hit misfortune build this game, which I kind of agree with the like engagers that Goat Kings have. It's really difficult to actually get effective channels of your ult down, so it's better to be more active and moving around.
Yeah, I like it too, because we've seen also like 2 auto attacks on the Ezreal, 2 auto attacks on the Lux, even the couple auto attacks on Xin Zhao or Maokai is doing a lot of damage to Misfortune right now. If you can, proc that with the double up as well. Jarvan gonna make it out, able to buffer that with the EQ combo. You can buffer most roots in the game with that. Not gonna take the damage from Lux ultimate, but that cooldown also extremely short, so it's gonna be back up again pretty soon. Bandage toss not going to land. Maokai ultimate coming through to disengage. Jarvan ends up taking the EQ, but going to actually get rooted up as well. And Mumu also just peeling. Ultimate goes down to root up Malco. Going to fall. Deity dead as well. Double kill for the Gangplank, and you have Perfy on the back end, kind of just distracting him. Gets the Ornn ultimate just for himself. It's not even going to land. Lux going to miss as well, getting knocked up, and now Xerath is here. Stun, landing Misfortune ultimate, Larian across. Ornn able to get out, but the rest of his team has fallen. And I think, Tactic, that might just spell Baron for Titan Gaming.
I'm just trying to think of an angle for Goat Kings to get back into this game, because it's looking a little rough right now.
It's looking very rough right now. I mean, if I'm trying to think of an angle, the angle is that Titan Gaming makes 7 monumental mistakes in a row and then don't get soul next Dragon fight, because it's looking rough. You have a team fight comp for Goat Kings, but they can't group because they're getting mowed down. They can't split push because they lose the side lane. It's just, it's looking tough, man, yeah.
Yeah, that's unfortunately the only realistic angle that I can really think of right now is what you kind of just said, is you kind of have to hope for mistakes or look for picks.
You got to be good at catching. If they're throwing, gotta catch it.
Get out your mitts, boys. It's catching time.
About a minute, 10 seconds here till that next dragon. I think this is where we will see it all come together. Be the final moment of this game. I really, truly think, this team fight's going to decide it. Lux getting a lot of damage down there in the bot lane on defense. I think the W actually healed him significantly though, so actually not really in a lot of danger, but Bentage in so much danger, getting 1v1 by Deity, and actually finding a pick onto both of these carries. Exactly what we just said needed to happen for Goat Kings. They kill the solo laners of Titan Gaming, get the Amumu ultimate, and the flash isn't there, so that's a dead Amumu as well. The sapling from the bush that he prepared earlier, gonna be in there, and Perfy now sitting in the bush. If you were the Jarvan, you have in your mind, this is soul for my team. I'm on Vision, but I want to try to get in there and steal this. I want to secure this objective for my team. It is so powerful. I think if you're Jarvan, you try to stick around and try to steal this, but the Goat Kids have to know he's thinking about that.
If you can deny soul here, that's definitely a step in the right direction for Goat Kings.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was a little early, honestly, with those picks, because they're back on the map now. Xerath's in range to ult. Gangplank has teleported bot lane. They've started the dragon at about half HP. Jarvan's pretty close. He can look for a steal here. The EQ will still get him close in range to smite. We'll see if he can actually get it, and he does! He secures the soul! Titan Gaming Max with the Mountain Soul and the fight. Jarvan killing Lux. Perfy soon to fall. Misfortune Ultimate layering down on top of it. You have to think that Smoothie and the boys have to just run out now. You cannot fight this team anymore. They are way too healthy, and your health bars are gone. Perfy with the massive steal there to secure the permanent Mountain Dragon buff for his team. Baron not quite up, but that is huge for Titan Gaming.
Yeah, it was unfortunately one step forward, two steps back for Goat Kings there. It was looking really positive, but respawn timers came in clutch for Titan Gaming Mox, and now we're back in the same situation we were before we got those picks.
Yeah, I like the idea. I like the energy from Goat Kings to look for those kind of picks. You know, it's such a good idea. It's the only thing you can do to really get back in this game is look for picks like that, spin them into objectives. But, you know, it was a little too much too soon. The Dragon wasn't quite up by the time you started. They're back on the map, and, you know, we saw what happens. You know, Perfy obviously an amazing steal, but the rest of the team close enough there to clean up the fight afterwards. And, you know, it looked a little hopeful for Goat Kings. I just really think that this game, you're kind of thinking about game 3 at this point.
It's entirely possible that they play for Elder, and maybe they get a miracle and get it, and that could be an end angle for them.
It's true.
So there's still hope if they're able to hold on that long.
Oh, absolutely. Elder is the great equalizer. You know, I doubt that we would see Titan Gaming looking to flip that. If it does end up spawning, I think you just kind of control the vision on it, play around Baron, maybe just side lane. You got to know Elder's going to be that win condition, and, you know, Goat King Reaper just falling there. So much damage onto this Ezreal from Misfortune in the mid lane, like we talked about. Those auto attacks just absolutely chunking. This Jarvan just takes no damage. The Mountain Soul, he's just so incredibly tanky. Still has the shield even through all of that as they move on into the mid lane. Owen going to buffer that stun, but not quite going to matter. Misfortune Ultimate going to come down. Not enough to kill. Owen Ultimate coming through, potentially just to clear the lane in mid lane. As you see Fence here on bot side. Going to end up getting Jin Zhao with that passive burn from the auto attack. Ezreal having the Arcane Shift out again. Has the heal up, but is susceptible to another combo, but I don't think it even matters. Titan Gaming Mox on the Nexus yet again. Game 2 looking to go their way. A dominant performance this game, ending at 14k up. Xerath Ultimate at the end, sending a message. Nexus gonna explode. Titan Gaming up 2-0. Look at that GPM from Fence in that game, 563.
That is kind of nutty.
Yeah, more than 150 GPM up on anybody on the opposing team. You know, I really liked the way Smoothie played that lane, but they just got outscaled by the end of it, and that Dragon going over really just put the nail in the coffin at that point. I mean, it was looking pretty over at that point. There was still maybe a window, you know, for the Elder, like you said, but they just really forced it right after that Dragon and picked up the dub. It's up 2-0.
I think it's time for radical decisions in the draft.
Cynical decisions, yes, I agree.
Like, if we're going to allow Misfortune to exist, we have to punish it early, because that's when she's the most punishable.
You could say the same thing for Xerath, honestly.
Yeah, like, if we're letting these punishable lanes exist, we have to punish them early. If we don't want them to exist anymore, we definitely are gonna have to make sure we're ready for whatever they have in the back pocket. But it's really rough because Arma has other ADCs that he's also proficient on, and Bentage has other mid laners that he's proficient on. So
Yep.
it's like, do we take what we know, or do we roll the dice and go with what we don't know?
I'm gonna be honest. I drop almost all of the top lane bans, and I start banning out the stuff that we've been losing to. I'm banning the Xerath. I'm banning the Misfortune. Make them play something else. We've already shown 2 games in a row that we are not really comfortable playing into these champions. We're not punishing them early. The range is hard for us to play around in these team fights. Just get him out of here. Leave some of those top laners up. He can only pick one of them. I agree with you. Draft a little more cynically here. I think for Goat Kings, I'd really like to see those kind of adaptations. I haven't hated their drafts. I just think the execution isn't quite there. And if we see some changes in the ban phase, it might be a little easier for them to execute.
Like, I understand where a lot of the bans are coming from. Like, Arma's really good on Aphelios, and Aatrox, as we kind of touched on earlier, is really nasty in the right hands. But I personally have faith in Smoothie to be able to mitigate that if we're always drafting for weak side.
Yeah, just the Ornn looks pretty good. I mean, Ornn kind of just makes himself available to those sweet spots from Aatrox Q combos. You can CC immune the knockup, but you're still going to take that full damage. So I don't know. I'm sure they have a good weak side pick into it, but yeah, I really do hope we see an adaptation, like we're kind of talking about. You mentioned the Aphelios. You think that's something that they might leave up here? Kind of an interesting blue side round 1 ban. Is a pretty strong champion, but I think there's room to just not ban that.
Yeah, at least for round 1 bans, personally, I don't think Aphelios is like super difficult to deal with. But it might be something that Malka's not comfortable dealing with, is kind of always the angle that could be occurring in the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. Like, if you just have champions you just don't want to lane against, it's kind of worth banning them. But that's also stuff you kind of have to consider at this point in a series like this, right? In the finals, maybe you have to play a little bit uncomfortable to get another kind of a style of draft for your team. Make some adjustment anywhere when you're down, 0-2. You got to do something. Like you said, you kind of got to do something a little bit different, kind of got to do something crazy. So yeah, we're harping on about this, but we'll see the draft and, we'll see if they do make any of these adjustments.
Barren summits to the verdant plains. Ships on vigor of the waves are skimming. Barren summits to the verdant plains. Each horizon is a new beginning. Rise, Eldraine. Far from the fjords and the ice-cold currents, brave and soar over new frontiers. Songs and sagas of a fate determined, shields and spears. Vows of favor or the thrill of plunder, pulled together for the clan and kin. Clank of hammers and the crash of thunder, pound with him. Oh, the echoes of eternity. Valhalla calling me. To pluck the strings of destiny.
Alright, sorry for that quick break. Looks like they restarted the drafts, but I need the link.
We finally get the Zareth ban coming out, but we stick with the Aatrox Aphelios bans. So we're leaving MF on the table. I'm wondering if they finally just say maybe we first pick it here instead of the Maokai. Because I do know Malco does enjoy playing MF, so that's always an angle they could take here.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. And, I do like to see some adaptation here already. They did lock in the Misfortune. So
So we
kind of
took-
as you predicted.
Yeah, it took away two of the power picks that were kind of heavily impacting games 1 and 2. So now it's kind of on Titan Gaming Mux to come up with a new strategy.
We've seen them picking these kind of team fight comps throughout this series so far. Now they have one of the best team fight AD carries. I expect them to draft similarly. That Jarvan that we've seen in this series a lot, taken off the table. Going to be the really strong 2v2 of Caitlyn Morgana, though. I love that answer from Titan Gaming.
I do know Trinity can play that, but I'm assuming that's for Bentage. We'll have to see as the draft kind of evolves here. And I was hoping that Didi would finally go with a heavy ganking jungler, and he goes with Zac, which does ridiculous damage on top of being just absolutely tanky. We keep our Maokai that we've been trusting this entire draft.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I am going to say, though, there's a little bit of anti-synergy with the Zac and the Misfortune. With the way his ultimate works, it can actually bounce people out of the damage that she's trying to layer down. I like it for the peel, but not the actually best synergy for the Misfortune as easily as some other junglers would be. But I like the pick as far as the frontline team fight combo they have.
And it looks like they opted to give Trinity the Morgana, and Bentage is going with one of his other comfort mids of Vagar, which traditionally he performs pretty well on.
Yeah, I like the Vagar a lot. Just setting up to be a really strong disengage comp here from a Titan Gaming. You have the binding to get out of some of that CC that's currently being offered from Goat Canes. Caitlyn's pretty safe with the max range she's able to play at. Not quite as good in the Cassid and Zac, though, I will say. But, the Vygar cage still has to be contended with. Kane can go untargetable. I like the ability of Titan Gaming Max to kind of choose how they play these fights and space them out. but Goat Kings yet again picking a composition where they want to grouped 5v5. These fights have not been working for them the past 2 games with their past 2 drafts, but it looks like they have a lot more damage in this draft than their past couple.
Yeah, Smoothie appears has finally decided to throw down the gauntlet. I'm tired of playing weak side. I'm playing Jax this game. Very interesting draft from Titan Gaming Mox. It looks like something you'd see in solo queue, if I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm being honest, the past couple drafts the Titan Gaming Mocks have looked like there'd be something you'd see in solo queue. But, they made them work. They're pulling them off, especially that game 1 draft. We talked at length about, or at least I did, about how I liked Goat King's draft so much more. They had so much more agency in the game. But Titan Gaming is just consistently outperformed in these small fights and these skirmishes and these objective setups. They're winning and getting gold in the lanes usually, especially bot lane. So, I mean, we're going to have to see some pretty big adaptations from Goat Kings in the gameplay. We've seen some in the draft here so far, but we're going to have to see some gameplay adaptations as well if they want to make this a competitive series.
To darkness, where power grows.
Should mention those Caitlyn changes. I believe it's every 3 auto attacks now from Brush you get a headshot, correct?
I don't play Caitlyn because I don't like that champion, but I think that's accurate.
Someone in chat will correct me if I'm wrong anyway. I'll just keep an eye on it.
Because I think they went from 7 auto attacks to 6, and when you're in bush, I think it counts as 2.
I shall lead.
So it's guaranteed every 3 auto attacks from Brush. Nice.
From a bush, yeah.
Love to see it.
Otherwise, it's every 6.
Love to see it. I don't like that champion either, though. Just feels like a worse Jhin. I know that's not right, but it's how it feels.
I don't know. Like, I love my Jinx, and it's like whenever I pick Jinx, it's usually would always be answered by Caitlyn. And it's like, well, yeah, you'll bully me for a while, but then eventually I'll have enough points in queue to where I match your auto range.
Yeah. I mean, I personally am a huge Kane enjoyer. That was my first Mastery 7 champ, I think, that or Rek'Sai. But I am just kind of excited to see what build he goes for. I mean, he almost has to go Rost, right? But is there any angle where you go the blue K in this game?
If I know Perfy well enough, I think he's always looking for an excuse to go Shadow Kane.
My God, Shadow Kane is so troll. If he goes Shadow Kane, that's big respect. But that is the ultimate solo queue at that point. Looking at the other draft.
I think Perfy is looking for it. Honestly, if you're gonna do it at all in this series, now's the time when you're 2 games up. It's like, what's the worst that's gonna happen? We go to game 3, or sorry, game 4.
Or yeah. I mean, you're right, but we're gonna have to see. I mean, if you do like the thing about Shadow King in this game would be honestly just like Rost with Duskblade is basically Shadow King, but the thing about Shadow King in this game is if you can one-shot that Kassadin or that Misfortune, like, what does Goat Canes do? And the answer is pretty much nothing. Because they're kind of a 2-threat comp, but Jax isn't really much of a team fighter, especially against something like Vygar. It's going to be kind of tough for him, but yeah, like we said, like, we're going to have to see if Goat Canes can actually play this one out and make this competitive.
You listen here, Critter. I don't want that bad juju in my life. I don't want Lethality Caitlyn to be summoned into existence.
Yeah, don't even put that in the chat. Ban this man. That's good. The Lethality Caitlyn, yeah. The second you see that serrated dirt come through in the inventory for Caitlyn, I'm gonna look straight to the chat and look for some molding from Critter. Let's hope that it happens, but I do think it would be terrible too to go Lethality here.
even if we have lethality Kayn and lethality Caitlyn, I mean, how can they handle all that damage?
True. Actually, that's just double the lethal. And I'm not like an expert, but I'm pretty sure the word lethal means death. So if they're able to deal double death to Goat Kings, sounds like a pretty easy dub to me. No prediction question mark bonkers. I don't know if that automatically goes up or what. We got a couple minutes here though for predictions. There we go. Who wins game 3? Predict with channel points. Instantly is 20, 40, 80 being slapped down. Getting in there. How many channel points do I have? Oh, I have no channel points. We got some believers for Goat Kings in the chat here, Tactic. Thoughts?
I never count out Goat Kings. Like, they definitely... There have been some controllable mistakes in both games that can definitely be cleaned up that would have potentially changed the possible outcome of the games. So I don't necessarily think that it's wrong to think that they're going to show up here in game 3.
Yeah, I mean, and they got blue side again. Historically, a pretty OP side of the map. They have some actual scaling now and the ability to 1-3-1. I think they actually have a stronger 1-3-1 if they can get to the mid-late game with Kassadin and Jax kind of at even game states. I actually really like their ability to play the map. The macro hasn't been the strongest from either team this series yet, but I think if Goat Kings are able to pull that out with some good macro 1-3-1 play this game, they can definitely take it.
I agree, Mont. I think Kayn is kind of going to decide a lot. I also think that Didi, again, I think the jungle has kind of been a lot of the deciding factor. I mean, obviously in the first 2 games, we thought that, and it was more of like skirmishing that kind of decided the games. But in theory, these 2 junglers have been showing quite a bit of impact.
Yeah, can't forget that we had the Zulmorn in on the Udyr for game 1, but yeah, definitely been some jungle impact here over these past few games. Like we touched on earlier in the series, most impactful, most handsome role, yada yada. Everybody knows it.
It's so impactful that they might just nerf it again.
They are nerfing it again, and I am ready for my glorious transition into literally anywhere else. So we'll see how that goes as these teams transition onto the map here. Had a spread for both games that already happened. No level 1 shenanigans. And it looks like we're getting that again. Neither of these teams want to flip it. Honestly, a good idea. I just always hope for it, so I'm going to kind of try to manifest it. But probably not happening.
If anything, I think Titan Gaming Mox have a better level 1 comp because you got Morgana. And you could fish for Kayn stacks early. But when you're ahead 2-0 in a series, you just don't have to take risks.
Yeah, that's something we'll be keeping our eye on here, Tactic. You mentioned those Kayn stacks. If he is looking to go that blue Kayn, going to be pretty tough to get stacks for that. You can really only get those off of the Misfortune here 4 melee champions otherwise. So I think we'll be seeing Rost come out here, but
He did
you
go
never know.
Conqueror, but he also went the blue jungle item, and the blue jungle item is typically a blue cane.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of CC you're really going to be wanting the tenacity from on the side of Goat Kings. I mean, red smite's always an option as well, but because you get that damage regardless of what your smite is for Kane, that you can use your R then. I really like blue smite in either form just because you want that movement speed from the brush is just so powerful.
I just always, even if green doesn't get any value from the tenacity, I still like the regenning shield.
Yeah.
Regenning shield just feels really good.
Yeah, it feels great. Oh, okay.
I've seen Conk Blue Cane Mon. It works. It's a fine.
We're just coping at this point. This is going to be a red Cane. We see a binding land here in the bot lane. He'll going to be popped immediately to trade some of that damage back, but yeah, misfortune. Both summoners taken worst trade deal in the history of trade deals for MF. 1 binding for both summoners, not going to be worth there, as Renekton taking a lot of damage here. Speaking of trades back, heals up with that empowered Q there just a bit. Gonna be feeling pretty good about that one, and Smooth is going to be having to track his health bar here more so than usual in this matchup. Renekton took that ignite here that we didn't touch on in the top lane. Going to be looking for these solo bolos. I think you actually like this right now if you're Fence. Already, mid lane, Deity coming through. Doesn't get the flash from Bentage. Bentage walking that one out and going to trade back here now. Good amount of damage, get some stacks here on the passive for the Vigar. And it's going to waddle away as Zac down to his red side. Yeah, I think Smoothie's in lethal range right now. He has to be very careful. This could just be a flash W angle from Fence any second. Plays it well to get the stun off, but not going to be enough. Taking the damage from the ignite and there's extra autos is going to do it. First blood going to Fence. Burns that flash from Smoothie. Doesn't have teleport, took that ignite, and maybe Smoothie not accounting for that, but it really looked like he was, pretty much in lethal range there and played it a little overaccurate. Damn, Mont Blanc with that lane is over. I've watched enough LPL to know when a Renekton is about to end this game. Yeah, that's going to be a snowball for sure. As we see top lane, Black Shield's going to prevent most of the CC from going down onto Caitlyn, but now Trinity going to have to flash out. Caitlyn also having flashed away. Deity here, passive still available. Going to pop that actually. And Maokai walking up to guard. It's going to take a tower shot here. Actually, so terrible from the Gokanes. Ends up dodging the tower shot with the W, but it doesn't matter. Perfy was already here, and that's a kill. On to the Maokai, a double kill for the Kane, picking up both of those. And your snowballing jungler getting both of these early kills is so massive for Titan Gaming. Not looking good.
We're snowballing.
Absolutely snowballing here. Man, that's got to be a tilter, from the side of Goat Kings. It looked like such a good angle for the Zac to come in, but Perfy just reading that so well, just there right on the play, picking up a double kill for himself. And when you're playing Kane in this kind of a matchup, the Zac doesn't have much to offer early in terms of combat. So you can kind of just walk into his jungle now and start taking his camps on a cycle and just continue to snowball this lane. We'll see if he opts to do that, but definitely is an option for him. Vintage forced to flash there. Another good gank from Deity, but he's been getting a lot of these ganks off, but it's really just been these flashes. And I mean, we saw him try to punish again that bot lane, but Kane in the mid lane now, maybe a little too over eager. Gonna get CC'd up. The teleport coming in though from Bentage on this Vigar. The red buff is actually gonna enable him to keep fighting, but maybe a little too low. Cassidy getting the shutdown. Vigar just walking in to see his man die. And, you know, when you just watch your jungler feed the enemy mid laner, your shutdown, and it's a Cassidon, you just really gritting your teeth there as the Vigar. But, you know, hopefully for his sake, you know, he can keep this matchup even. But that's good for Goat Kings.
And the Smoothie is just absolutely getting reamed on a little bit, unfortunately.
Yeah, after that first blood, that's just a Giga Clapper. There's not really much you're going to be able to do against a Snowballed Renekton with Ignite. That Summoner spell cooldown is just so low for how the laning phase goes. And yeah, it's tough. I mean, about a 30 CS lead right now. It's going to be growing constantly for this Crocodile up top. You know, somebody better call Steve Irwin, because this is looking like a pretty tough situation here in the outback of top lane for this Jax. Zach in the bot lane gets the smack together, but they're not going to be feeling too bad about that one. Trade some damage back themselves. Actually popping the heal from Melko, just walking away. Caitlyn going so aggro. Kane here now as well. Binding going to land. And again, another gank from Deity turns into kills for Titan Gaming Mox. Goat King Beard falling this time. Exhaust still available. Don't think that would have saved him. See if he can stop the recall here. I don't think he actually kills. The double E should be able to just take him out, but maybe a little greedy to stay here from Fence. Did have the Ignite and ultimate down, and yeah, it doesn't matter. Just going to be another solo bolo. 2-0 up in the top lane. 40 CS. Getting these turret plates. Tactic. This one's looking over.
Yeah, these overforced gank spot are just not looking very good, but it's really
They're desperate.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that Deity's trying to do something, but the angle looks good, but they're just way too close to tower. And Perfy has been there every single time it happens.
Oh, Vintage might be caught here a little bit. Got to flame his CS there for the past 30 seconds as well. Gets taken out, but yeah, I agree with you. It's just, it's looking like it is forced, like you say. It's some of these angles, you know, you could see maybe there's a window where you could do that, but you know, you're not tracking that enemy jungler. You don't know where Kane's at. You know, he's been waiting bot lane for these past few times. You got to start to expect stuff like that. Clearly, it's something that they're, you know, thinking about in their game plan. But the top lane is really where I'm looking just for kind of the death knell of this game right now, with how it's going. You have leads everywhere, but this top lane lead is just suffocating. Easy Kane moment, just right over the wall there with the E. Gonna actually go back over with the Q, and Zach follows back over with his E himself. Perfy just a little bit eager here. Might have some abilities back up to get away afterwards, but no, Renekton now in the middle of 3. Honestly, is a place Renekton does like to be when he has that empowered Q. I think that was on cooldown though, because he's not able to heal up in time. The shutdown goes over to Jax. It's exactly where you want that to go. Vantage going in at the end. They're like, you know what? If we're going to give Jax kills, we might as well make him 3. He's down 50 CS. Let's make this again. Easy no FF angle.
I think it's really smart for Goat Kings to give all 3 of those to Jax, because he's in a dire situation where if he can't get his items completed, that it's just going to keep happening. So that, considering that Reaper has been performing really well against the Vigar, I think it's really smart to give those over to Jax at this point in the game.
Oh yeah, it is absolutely massive, because honestly, Jax is a counter to Renekton. Like, this early lane has looked pretty good for Fence, but Jax gets items and gets to an even game state with Renekton. Jax wins those 1v1s. The counter-strike completely cancels out Renekton's stun, if you can time it correctly. You know, I expect to see Smoothie at least start to equalize some of these trades. He's been playing pretty good this game, or this series. Damage gonna go down. Beard almost had the blast spin out there, not quite enough, and DD gonna try to go in, but you know, Trinity with these bindings is just hitting him in the face every single time. Cassidon kind of just playing with Vigar now. cage not going to mean much, but has to be pretty careful. Getting kind of within lethal range for that Vigar QR combo. Zac is also here, laying a lot of damage down. Should have that passive, and killing spree now for the Kassadin. Kayn is ultimate onto Zac. We'll see if he can actually make something happen here or just run away. Kassadin does tank the ultimate from Caitlyn. Herpy's still fighting Deity, who has to flash out for the auto attack on the minion to get the knock together, but Caitlyn already here, coming in just in time to clean up these kills, and that's exactly where you want them going if you are Titan Gaming.
Yeah, this Caitlyn is absolutely huge now, 4-0.
Yeah, these fights are just crazy. Like, both sides kind of seem like they're over-forcing their hands in these skirmishes, but since they're both doing it, it's kind of almost an even kill spread. But Titan Gaming's CS lead, has to be considered. If you take a look at bot and top, they're getting the Herald mid lane. The turret plate lead is also huge.
Yeah, I'm also kind of questioning the crown build by Kassadin. I'm not too sure.
I get it. Like, you don't want to get burst in one shot. Like, the burst combos from Titans are pretty big, but I just feel like when is Roa never the best item for Kassadin as far as a mythic choice?
Yeah, he definitely benefits a lot more from that item. He's very mana dependent. The extra level on completion is good. There's a lot of benefits to Rod of Ages that...
Oh man, this is just hard to watch. This chase down is just so easy for Goat King Reaper. Getting onto the Vigar. Ends up getting out with a sliver of HP as well. Top lane going into trade. Gets the Counter-Strike down, but I don't think the W was procced yet for Renekton, so might still be able to get on him with that stun, as Counter-Strike's a pretty long cooldown early. Don't think he's going to try to dive this Jax, though. It's a little bit bigger now, having the Divine Sunderer completed. So it was Red Cape.
Turret plating will fall soon.
Anyone Gore Drinker. Just going full tank.
I still believed in Perfy. I mean, regardless of what... I could have saw the Shadow Cane angle.
Yes. Yeah, if he was Shadow Cane, he'd have those 4 kills instead of assist now.
Quite possibly.
See him going for some more kills here in the bot lane. Binding going to go just wide. W's not from Kayn. See if he pop that ultimate. Going to end up disengaging though. Zac comes through, and actually Maokai's just there to slap him right into the Misfortune ultimate. Dodges out of the damage though. Onto the Zac and going to heal a lot. Black Shield keeping him safe from a lot of that CC, but there's just so much damage. You can't save him from that, but he does get out. Morgana doing a lot. Back in with the Gore Drinker and healing. So much healing from this Red Kayn. Still alive here in this fight. The tower shot won't even take him out. That's a double kill for Caitlyn. The tower goes down, and Maokai just limping away.
Yeah, at this point in the game, I think you just kind of have to put all your cards into the Kassadin or Jax, because it's like the MF is a little bit too far behind to really make an impact at this point in the game.
Yeah, 100% agree. You're just going to have to be using that ultimate in team fights on MF. You just press R bot at this point. You really have to focus on this Jax. Try to get him to a state where he can fight this Renekton. Right now, 2 levels down about 70 CS. Not going to be very easy. Going to be a long road ahead of them to get this guy, as Fence just recalls in his face. I mean, the good news is, if you are Goat Kings, you have objective bounties. Those give you a lot of gold. Take a few objective bounties, you're back in the game.
And it's just going to be really rough when you have to get through Vagar Cage, Morgana Bindings, and then a Red Cane on top of that. It's definitely really rough here.
Yeah, they're layering a lot of damage here. Actually, the flash Q from Fence, so nice there to get that healing onto both of them, so he gets the extra bit of HP. His Fortune Ultimate going to be a good zoning tool there in the mid lane, as the mid laners here in bot lane end up fighting. Cassidy just kind of playing with his food with the Vygar. The cage is never affecting him, but well played by Fence in that top lane to trade one for none in that 1v2. You can bind it up. TP gonna come through as the Jax makes his way here. I'm not sure if that's worth TPing. They just figure they want a desperate fight here, but it's looking desperate. Goat King Reaper trying his best here on the Cassidy, gets the shutdown on the Caitlyn, but I think that's all he's gonna be able to do. Ends up falling there to the Kayn, who is just massive at this point. Able to CC so much with that W. See if he can get a range for it. Doesn't even need to. Trinity with the binding, so clean on that back end. And Bentaj cleaning up that kill. Says thanks for the stacks. A near ace. Pushing up mid lane. Can't even go for the Baron, by the way. It's not even 20 minutes. And they're already on the inhibitor towers.
Yeah, this is looking a little rough. That was definitely a super forced fight. Not even for an objective. It was just a fight to kind of attempt to regain tempo.
Yeah, they figured the Cassidy was maybe at a power spike. Honestly, I would have really liked to see, I'm not sure if he just bought it or if he had bought it before that fight, but you see the Seeker's arm guard in inventory. I think if you're going to go for that kind of play, you just buy the stopwatch instead. Try to make use out of that if you're going for kind of a desperation fight. But, that kind of is what it was out of them, right? That desperation kind of fight. Unfortunately, not panning out, and kind of going to be one of the nails in the coffin here for this game. You got 10k gold lead, pre-20 minutes about for Titan Gaming, and eyes on the Rift Herald, and you have to think eyes on Baron after that.
Is a Flame Horizon watch of the Necton against Jack.
There it is. It's getting close.
That is getting a little spooky. At least Jax is kind of getting some time alone here to kind of split push a little bit, get some gold, some levels.
Yeah, I mean, you like to see those objective bounties going over, and it has to be said that it's a Cloud Drake, and that second dragon taken so late from Titan Gaming, it kind of pushes back that win con a little bit. Not that they need that win con because they have an 8,000 gold lead and they can probably just take the Baron on spawn, but that is something to think about, that there's a little bit less on the map than they could have at this game state. But I just honestly, it's so hard for Goat Kings to come back from this point. Just Beard's getting ran down in his own jungle. Misfortune Ultimate's going to come through and actually put a good amount of damage down. Vygar Ultimate as well, but Kayn ended up dodging out a lot of that damage, which is all. Cage comes down. Zac able to jump over and get on the Vygar, but Vantage just kind of living here. It's so low HP and just alive, walking away and throwing Qs behind him. He's going to get the damage onto the Jax as well, so he's going to fall trying to chase down that Vygar, who does fall in the end, but it's a double kill for Caitlyn. Arma Fieldman, Fidelio Fieldman popping off as the ace comes through. Trinity getting the last kill there. And the entire time, Renekton's in the top lane. He doesn't even have to be there. They ace them in a 4v5. This is looking so tough for Goat Kings and so dominant from Titan Gaming.
Yeah, I don't know. At this point in the game, there's just so much gold on your AD carry, and all the other lanes are like doing really well. I just don't see a way back in for Goat Kings at this point, because your two strongest champions are scalers.
Yeah. I mean, and typically you think about that for your scaling champs on the side of Goat Kings. You're like, right. So they're taking Baron, but it's late game will scale. But they took Baron they can take Baron at 20 minutes. They can start pressuring them because of how far the base is pushed in. There's super minions walking down the middle lane right now, about to crash on the Nexus Tower, and you have to think it's just going to be a quick reset, Baron angle for Titan Gaming, then march it right up back mid lane because they have so much map pressure right now with these minion waves.
I know we kind of glossed over that shutdown on the Croc, but I still, even with that shutdown, there's still 10k down. It's still not in an ideal situation right now.
Yeah. I mean, in the Flame Horizon Watch, by the way, we were a couple CS off. We actually met the Flame Horizon Watch, and now we're back on Flame Horizon Watch. Renekton needs to really, step up the CS game here. And not having that Flame Horizon is a little cringe at this point. But in all seriousness, taking the Baron, I don't think there's much they can do to contest this. Already going to be taken down, and I think it's just all over, but the formalities here at the end. Yeah, and marching it up top lane. Baron buff in tow. Cassidy desperately trying to get something on the map. Sees that low tower for the objective bounty, but I think you just lose the base here. And I think he might know that too. Just wants to maybe get something on the map here and go out with some dignity. But Zach throwing out that elastic slate shot, gonna connect onto Renekton, who actually went really deep, got bounced back into the tower and taken down by Cassidy. That's really what you really want your gold going. Vantage really low, gets taken down by Jax. Again, where you want the gold going. It's looking so over for the Goat Kings, but they've managed to pull off a tenacious defense here on the Nexus at the end of the game as the first Nexus tower goes down, and now Caitlyn's here, raining down the damage. Arma Fidelium coming in and just doing so much work with those few auto attacks. The double kill for the Caitlyn. Ultimate gonna come through and secure almost the kill on the Cassidy, and probably pop Lasagnas to avoid that one, but the Nexus towers can do no such thing. Same with the Nexus. Cassidy trying to defend, but the damage from Caitlyn is just too big. The bot lane from Titan Gaming Mox shutting it down, ending the game 3-0.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little unfortunate that a lot of what came down to in all three of these games is just a little bit of messy skirmishing that kind of decided the games.
Yeah, I agree. It was a lot of messy skirmishing, made for a pretty entertaining series of games, though. I gotta say, a lot of fighting, a lot of kills, a lot of blood and action that we like to see in the Valhalla League. But man, Titan Gaming just had the lion's share of it. Really, they just constantly accumulating gold leads in these games. Fence winning top lane, Flame Horizon in that game 3, but honestly winning top lane for the other games for the most part. Just looking so good across the board in their lanes. Everybody playing super well. Really good to see from them.
Currently, we have our MVP vote live in the chat. Make sure to vote for who you think was the big difference maker in these three games. Who's your vote?
Who would be my vote for MVP? Let me think about this, actually. I mean, you can't really say jungle, I don't think, because of the substitutions. Like there was two different junglers playing this series. I honestly have to say I would personally give it to Bentage. I think that he applied a lot of pressure in the first two games on that Xerath. Um, and then in this last game, he did what he had to do. It was kind of hard to play into that Kassadin, with Vygar at a certain point. If Kassadin has kills, luckily Kassadin didn't have a lot of damage. But I really think that, playing that Xerath so well and forcing the ban out, and allowing their draft to have a little more strength to it was really good. I liked Ben to just play a lot this series, but honestly, I could give it to Fence or Armo Trinity as well. I think everybody played pretty well.
I do agree that Bentage had an amazing series. Personally, I would vote for Arma just because he consistently was getting his gold league and maintaining it, and was constantly with his team, whether it be laying down some really strong MF ults or just completely dominating on that Caitlyn on the third game. But Bentage definitely was a solid player in all three games. The Xerath was looking really clean.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I liked what I saw. I mean, it looks like he is currently ahead in the poll as well. Um, but yeah, I mean, phenomenal play from them, just coming in with a pretty dominant 3-0, if we got to say. And we saw some moments of brilliance from Goat Kings. I think we should talk about them at least a little bit. Some decent plays, some questionable plays. Overall, pretty good drafts, but just in the end, didn't really have what it took to really punch their leads through in these mid games against what Titan Gaming Mox was bringing to the table. And a lot of these, as you coined it, messy skirmishes, just fell a little bit short. And there we see the poll ended. It looks like Vintage. Congratulations, 55% of the vote.
All right. We will drag him up here for a quick interview.
Come on, Vintage, come on down. While we're waiting for Vintage to join, hope you guys enjoyed that finals. It was pretty good, and remember to sign up for the next season. It's right around the corner.
Oh, greetings, Bentage. Congratulations on being voted your team MVP. How did you feel about those games?
Oh, what a banger of a series, man. Champ Select, we were confused game 1 and 2 on the Maokai first pick, back-to-back games. But it was such a blast playing against Beard and James and Smoothie. I played with Deity, but I don't know Deity as well as I do those other casts. And Malco coming over, holding it down, just such a blast to play. Now I think y'all got the MVP vote wrong though. Like I'm the second support, and I sack everything to make sure that our true carries get the gold.
That's what MVP's all about, man.
You can say that all you want, but your Xerath was really strong game 1 and 2. Like we're not even gonna sugarcoat it. It was really strong. Obviously, it warranted a ban in the third final game. And even with it banned, you still played really well.
Well, our buddy Alex years ago cut me out of the mid lane because I didn't know how to buy pink wards, and I kept dying to
That
ganks.
is a punishable offense.
So I made it a point to invest more in vision, and I think that showed with me not giving up half as much gold as I've been known to do in the past. I still died too much to the J4 and the Zac running me down, but
Absorbing pressure.
Well, and that's where we were like Arma or because I mean, good lord, he was in a constant 3v5 or 3v 2 down there in the bot lane for the entire game 1, and we were like, thanks for showing up to push R, buddy. You know, maybe you'll get to play a champion next game. Surprisingly, we didn't practice much. Everybody's got a pretty full schedule, but when it came time to play on game day, like, we just meshed really well as a squad. Everybody knew their role, and it stayed very level-headed. Even when somebody, like me or Arma were just being dove on repeat, and the complete focus of being singled out and murdered on repeat was, we were just like, whatever. Everybody else is, filling in, so
Yeah,
it was really, really fun to play with those guys, and I'm hoping that I don't get the curse here and show up next season and go undrafted or 0-90 in week 1. That's been my luck. One or the other.
I mean, that would honestly be impressive.
0-90 in a 3-game series. Challenge accepted.
Well, congratulations, Bentage, on your championship and your MVP performance. Keep in mind, everybody that is watching, signups are live for next season. I do believe we also are still looking for captains as well. So make sure, if you're interested, that you're signing up. And any closing
I don't know if anybody's
notes?
going to be able to afford Fence next season. Oh, good Lord. If he's less than $3 million, he's a steal.
If he upgrades to sturdy Fence, we'll think about giving him a discount.
I like it.
Someone says in-house is question mark in the chat.
Perfy likes playing League of Legends, so I've been told. We'll think about it.
All right. Well, I got to go feed kids and cook dinner. Y'all have a good one. Thanks for having me. It was great fun.
Cheers, man. Congratulations.
All right. Any closing thoughts on this 3-0 series that was kind of a bloodbath? Very exciting to watch.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, what else is there to say? What hasn't been said already? Just the dominant series from them. Kind of through and through, consistently performing, even fighting from behind in some of those games from some small early game deficits. But well played to them. Congratulations. I think well deserved MVP for Bentage there.
I 100% agree. Hopefully we see everybody next season, and good luck on the Rift.
Have a good night, everyone.